Chapter 1452. Just as the guy who gave the key and the local thugs were about to deal with Judikin and Beagle, the two guys who had gone back on their word, Su-yun was ready to escape. The moment the two sides exchanged blows, Su-yun dashed away like a gust of wind. Even though Judikin and Beagle had noticed Su-yun's departure at the first moment, they did not say anything. Instead, they turned their attention to the dozen or so thugs in front of them. To put it bluntly, if Judikin and Beagle were serious, the dozen or so thugs would not be able to last more than half a minute under their hands. They would all be killed in seconds. However, in order to create more time for Su-yun to escape and make Su-yun's escape more realistic, the two of them said in unison, "Be gentle, don't make too much of a commotion." Just because they said go easy on them, the two of them spent 3 minutes to knock the dozen or so thugs to the ground. They did not kill them, but only broke a few of their arms and legs. Whether they would be crippled or not would depend on their luck in the future. At least, they were lucky to still be alive. The guy who gave the key to the speedboat did not know that the two foreigners were so ruthless. He had heard that foreigners were quite good at boxing, so he deliberately hired a few more thugs. If he had known, he would not have tried to save money by hiring these thugs. He would have invited the local mafia boss to help him. Unfortunately, it was too late to say anything now. The guy who gave the key to the speedboat was probably a spineless traitor. When he saw the two foreigners locking their eyes on him, he instantly got scared and knelt on the ground. In order to protect himself, the guy who gave the key to the speedboat shouted, "Please spare me, I was wrong, I was wrong. I beg the two of you to spare my worthless life. That person of yours, the one you caught, he ran away." Judikin and Beagle could not help but curse in their hearts. They were prepared to give Su-yun a few more minutes to think of a way to pretend that they did not notice anything, but the guy who gave them the key exposed them. There was no point in pretending anymore. The two of them reacted as if they were actors who had graduated from the Yenjing Film Academy. This was too professional. That expression, that attitude, that posture, all of it was as if they did not know what was going on at all. The guy who gave the key also took the opportunity to breathe a sigh of relief and slowly crawled away. He definitely did not dare to take the money. After all, the boss did not lose anything, and he would not risk his life to ask for the rest of the money. "After him," Judikin said. He felt very good when he saw Beagle's reaction. Beagle's reaction was not the same. Hearing Judikin's anxious voice, of course, Beagle's mind, on his mind. "You go that way, I go this way." If he did not, he would not have the chance to use the GPS to track with him. For Judikin, who also needed to act alone, Beagle's suggestion definitely helped him to solve his biggest problem. Just like that, the two of them did the same thing with their own ulterior motives, but they still thought that the other was in the dark. The onlooker sees the game clearly. If General Ard could see this, he would be so angry that his lungs would explode. Just as Judikin and Beagle were dealing with a dozen or so thugs, Su-yun ran as fast as he could to Lin Ji's car. Lin Gu jumped out of the car. "Bro, I knew it was you just now. How was it? Were those two idiots easy to trick? No matter how stupid they are, you can't be careless. You have to be careful." As he spoke, Lin Ji's hands did not stop. He was putting a GPS patch on Su-yun's clothes. If Su-yun could think of using Judikin and Beagle to track him, he could use the same method to get Lin Gu to put a GPS patch on him. This way, Lin Gu could bring the news of his location to the Dragon Brigade, and his brothers would know his current situation and location. This way, they could attack from both inside and outside, and easily destroy the secret American base in Dongying. In less than 10 seconds, Lin Gu finished what he was doing. Su-yun said to him, "Remember, don't act rashly. Listen to orders. When I'm not around, you'll have to take on the responsibility of following orders for me when you go to the Dragon Brigade. Understand?" "Understood. They should be here soon," Lin Gu said. "We'd better prepare the scene now." "Okay." Without another word, Su-yun lay down about 10 meters in front of Lin Ji's car. Lin Gu stood by the car door and waited quietly. Very soon, the two of them felt two auras rushing over to find them. Su-yun cried out and began to struggle on the ground. Lin Gu quickly got into character. Don't you look where you're going? Why am I so King unlucky? Are you okay? You're a scammer. Let me tell you. I didn't break the rules. Stop pretending. My God. Why did I have to run into this? When Judikin and Beagle arrived, they saw Su Yun being sent flying by the car. They were dumbfounded. The two of them came from the east and the west. Seeing the two of them, Lin Gu got into the car and shouted, "He's a scammer. I didn't run away." With that, he stepped on the accelerator and the car sped toward the south. Judikin and Beagle stared at the disappearing taillights and their minds went blank. No matter how good their plan was, if Su Yun died in Huaxia, everything would be for naught. The general would never forgive them. Neither of them would ever forgive them. The two of them did not dare to think that their escape scene would go wrong. They were very upset. Just as the two of them were about to fall into despair, Su Yun sat up and rubbed his arms and back. He cursed, "Damn the driver who ran away. Son of AB*TCH. You have no sense of social responsibility. People like you are not human." Seeing Su Yun come back from the dead, Judikin and Beagle almost forgot that they were in an escape scene. They rushed forward to see if Su Yun was seriously injured. Su Yun waved his hand and said that he was fine. At the same time, he secretly gave the two of them a look. The two of them immediately understood. They quickly put on a furious expression and scolded Su Yun for trying to run away. They also warned each other that they had to keep an eye on him. If something went wrong at the most critical moment, none of them could bear the consequences. After being led by Su Yun, Judikin and Beagle finally had a little bit of trust in each other. The two of them could only trust Su Yun. They did not know that they were both pretending to be focused on Su Yun and did not suspect Su Yun at all. They did not even have the time to ask why Su Yun was running away. They also did not warn Su Yun not to run away anymore. After all, both of them were well aware of this and thought that the other did not know. It was not until they got on the small speedboat that Judikin asked the question in his heart, "Captain Yanlong, with your speed, you shouldn't have been hit by a car, right?" Su Yun raised his hands for him to see. "If you tie your hands up, try to see if you can still balance. If you run into a drunk driver again, see if he aims to hit you. He will think that he is avoiding you." Judikin nodded doubtfully, but Beagle helped Su Yun out by changing the topic. "Captain Yanlong, didn't we already talk about it? Why are you still running? You have been very cooperative before this." "I had no chance to cooperate. If I didn't run when I had the chance today, I would be crazy," Su Yun said. "If I had the chance, I would have really run away. But if I didn't, I could only accept my fate." Chapter 1453. Su Yun's authenticity gave Judikin and Beagle a headache. Fortunately, they were now on this small speedboat. It was not cheap to buy something that could be considered a one-time use item for 150,000 renminbi. However, as long as they could bring Su Yun back, it was worth it. "Where is your secret base?" Su Yun said, "Now you can tell me. The boat is already out in the open sea. With the two of you watching, I definitely can't go anywhere. Since we're going anyway, there's no harm in you telling me. Otherwise, I can tell where it is when we get there." "You might not be able to guess where it is even if we get there," Judikin said. "However, there's no harm in telling you. Now that you've accepted your fate, we might be on the same side in the future." After that, Judikin looked at Beagle, indicating that he could tell Su Yun. His mouth was a little dry, and he did not want to talk anymore. After all, there was still a long way to go. There were only a few bottles of mineral water on the boat. He wanted to conserve as much energy as he could. Beagle was not as shrewd as Judikin. He did not think that talking would consume much energy and stamina. It was late at night, on a lonely boat, on a long voyage. If they did not talk, it would be quite boring. The two of them took turns steering the boat. Judikin started the boat first, and he chatted with Su Yun for a while. "Everyone in Asia guessed correctly. Our secret base is indeed built in Dongying. However, there's one thing that no one guessed correctly. Our secret base will never be located near the East China Sea, nor will it be in the East China Sea. These places are too conspicuous. Beager said, "It's actually a long voyage to our secret base. We'll probably need a few days." At this point, Beager seemed to have realized why Yudkin wanted him to talk. For the past few days, they had limited water and food. Because the speedboat was small and had to travel a long distance by sea, they had asked those people to prepare spare oil barrels for them. As for water and food, it was much simpler. They only had water and compressed biscuits. This was to save space and carry fuel. Since they had already started talking, Beager did not care about wasting his saliva. "We have to pass through the East China Sea, pass through Korea's Namjeju Island, then pass through Dongying's Kagoshima Sea, and continue east. At our current speed, we'll need at least another day to reach our destination." After a pause, Beager continued, "Our destination is a very small island on the west side of the Eichzhong Island in the far southeast of Dongying Island. We chose that place is suitable for a secret base, and it's suitable for hiding fighter jets." Su Yun frowned. It seemed that the Dongying people were really America's lackeys. They even used their own country's island to build a secret base for them. Were they not afraid that if they did something wrong one day, their American father would be unhappy with them and would just wave his hand and use the military theory of this secret base to flatten Dongying? Su Yun closed his eyes and carefully thought about the map in his mind. Soon, he finally remembered that there was a Eichzhong Island in the southeast of Dongying Island. The Eichzhong Island was not very big. There was almost no sign on the map Su Yun had seen before. The smaller island next to it was probably just a mountainous island. The Americans were really smart to use such a mountainous island as a secret base. Very few countries would target such a place, so they could easily hide and do what they wanted to do at any time. They could also provide enough help and supplies to those who were carrying out secret agent activities. The Americans would never admit that they had such a place, so even if Su Yun destroyed the island, they could only grit their teeth and swallow it. As for the Japanese lackeys, they could only suffer in silence. After all, if their American godfather did not dare to admit it, the Dongying lackeys could not stand up and point out that Hua Xia had done something to them. Su Yun was holding on to this weakness. Not only could he make General Adler suffer, but he could also make the Dongying lackey San Air suffer a great deal. Let him choke on his words, unable to swallow or spit them out. Only then would Su Yun feel satisfied. Time flowed slowly like water. The three of them had already lost count of how many nights and days had passed on this small speedboat, but he could clearly feel that his body's condition was constantly deteriorating. He had to admit that the conditions at sea were too bad. Yudkin and Beagle were at their limits. If the two of them had not taken turns steering the boat, and the others had closed their eyes to sleep for a while, they would have died a long time ago. It wasn't that they trusted each other, but that they had no choice but to trust each other. At this time, if they still didn't trust each other, then they would really give Su Yun an opportunity to push both of them into the sea. Then, they wouldn't have any thoughts of hurting each other. Two people watching over Su Yun was already the limit. If it was only one person, then they should just give up on this idea. Finally, after a few days and nights of torture, the voyage ended. When they were about a dozen nautical miles away from the island, a few well-equipped American soldiers rushed over in a speedboat to check on them. After confirming the identities of Yudkin and Beagle, Su Yun and the other two were invited to the base. After arriving at the base, Yudkin finally breathed a sigh of relief. He did not break his promise. Other than not letting go of the restraints on Su Yun's hands, he gave Su Yun the best conditions he could. The best room to rest, hot water, and the most delicious steak. Finally, after a full meal and replenishing their energy, the three of them felt like they had been reborn. To be able to enjoy such a high standard of treatment from the enemy, Su Yun could be considered to have a lot of face. "Captain Yen Long, I promised you that as long as you cooperate, we can fulfill all your conditions," Yudkin said. "Now that you're here, it's impossible for you to go back. I'll give you some time to think about whether you're ready to go back with us to see the general. Of course, this is also the general's idea." Beagle also said, Captain Yen Long, you're really suitable for our line of work. Compared to your job in Hua Xiao's Special Forces, your future is much brighter. Future? I really don't think you have much of a future. Su Yun said, you're so scared to stay in a slightly more expensive hotel. I'm afraid the general doesn't pay you much, does he? The two of them were speechless. They weren't movie stars, professional basketball players, financial elites, or nouveau riche. How were they supposed to stay in such a high-end hotel? That was a place only the rich had the right to go. Since the general wants me to think about it, then I'll think about it. Su Yun said, you should be able to rest assured staying in a place like this. The sea is everywhere, and I can't escape even if I want to. Aren't you going to let go of my hands? Stunned for a moment, Yutakin shook his head. That's not necessary. This is also the general's idea. Su Yun laughed. The general is really boring. Remember to pass a message to him for me. If he suspects me, don't use him. Since he's still suspicious of me, he'll definitely suspect me in the future. Then, why should I work for him? Although he said that, he cursed in his heart. Luckily, Bai Xiaoye had secretly hidden a thin piece of hair clip for him. Otherwise, he would have been tied up forever. After all, we both need time. You need time to think about it, and the general needs time to trust you, Yutakin said. Captain Yen Long, I trust you. I'm sure you won't let the general down. Yutakin felt that it was all thanks to Su Yun's plan that he was able to make it to the base alive despite his abdominal pain. Therefore, he owed Su Yun a favor. Bigger felt the same way. Captain Yen Long, I trust you too. Bigger didn't have any worries now. What he needed to do was to report to the general that Yutakin had killed Yanni. Yutakin seemed to have seen through Bigger's thoughts. As he asked Su Yun to go back to his room to think about it, he said to Bigger, Brother, it's time for the two of us to talk. Chapter 1454. For two people who were not related by blood, the word brother meant a lot of trust. It meant that the two people were very close. Although the word had been used many times in Hua Xia, people who wanted to play tricks on you would still call you brother. But to Yutakin and Bigger, who were colleagues at most, it was quite sincere for them to address each other as brothers. So when Yutakin said that, Bigger was a little surprised. He did not expect Yutakin to talk to him, and he did not expect Yutakin to call him that. This gave him an indescribable feeling in his heart, and he did not know how to describe it. Yutakin, I admit that there is a little misunderstanding between us, but I also believe that we can solve it well. It's better not to cause trouble in the base. You'll embarrass the general. In the end, Bigger still could not trust Yutakin. He did not plan to talk to him in private. He still felt safer in a crowded place. If there's anything you want to say it here. Yutakin chuckled. Since you've said so, I won't force you. I just want to say that since we're already here, why don't we be honest with each other and let bygones be bygones? On the way here, I know clearly what you've been thinking. I haven't exposed this layer of paper to you because I want to bring Fiery Dragon here safely. What do you think I've been thinking? Bigger could only chuckle helplessly. What do you think I've been thinking? You're overthinking it, aren't you? Yutakin, I know why you're looking for me. I'm not an idiot. I know what self-preservation is. Yanni is dead, and there's no way I'll tell the general about this. You don't have to worry about this at all. Yutakin was stunned. He didn't expect this guy to be so sensible. Since that was the case, Yutakin really didn't know what to say. Forget it, forget it. Since that was the case, he should be more magnanimous. With your words, we are brothers from now on. I wouldn't dare. However, Bigger refused. Yutakin, your brothers have always been in a state of death. Haven't you noticed? None of those who believed in you had a good ending. You should think about it carefully. Why is that? Why did Yanni die? It was because he trusted you too much. Yutakin, you're the only person I don't dare to show my back to. I'm sorry. The corner of Yutakin's mouth twitched. He did not expect Bigger to be so straightforward. His courage was worth encouraging. We are all the same. It's just that the way we do things is different. That's what the general said. He said that if we weren't the same kind of people, he wouldn't have taken us under his command. Don't overestimate yourself, Biga. I've never thought of myself as noble, and I've never doubted the general's words. But there's one thing I can tell you clearly: you're different from the rest of us. I have no intention of doubting or slandering you. You can think about it yourself. If that's the case, then we have nothing to talk about, Yudikin said. He knew that although they were all under the general's command, the general did not give them a fixed division of their partners. However, in the field of special agents, many operations could not be completed by one person. Therefore, these people under the general's command slowly found their fixed partners. This was a kind of trust and tacit understanding between people. For example, Biga and Yanni had this kind of partnership. Christian and Jefferson also had this kind of partnership. Even if they were assigned to carry out missions alone, they would still subconsciously walk together and work together. This was a habit of theirs, a habit that was impossible to change. It was also their fortune and fortune. As special agents, having a tacit understanding with each other was what they needed the most. However, Yudikin did not have a partner. He had always been alone. No matter what he did, no one would help him, and he would not help anyone. When he encountered danger, he did not trust a partner who could protect him. At the same time, no one would trust him and let him protect their backs. This was not a secret among the agents under General Aud. It was not an exaggeration to say that Yudikin really had almost no trust. Other than the general who believed in his personal ability, no one else believed in his character. After all, Yudikin was a guy who slaughtered their entire pirate ship just to survive. No matter where he was, such a person was a very dangerous factor. Originally, Yudikin wanted to use this opportunity and situation to throw an olive branch to Biga, indicating that he could also be a trustworthy partner. He wanted to replace Yanni's position. However, before he could say anything, Biga saw through his intentions and directly rejected him. This made Yudikin very unhappy, very unhappy. At this time, Suyun also thought of something. Once the two of them returned to the base, there was a possibility that they would tell each other everything. If that happened, he would be exposed and suspected. Suyun needed to be prepared to save himself. In his room, he secretly took out the thin iron hair clip from his pocket. Using all of his patience, he slowly tried to cut a small hole in the special material binding between his hands. Suyun only needed to cut a small hole. Once the structure of the binding rope was damaged, it would lose its original ability to absorb and increase its elasticity to effectively control experts. It would become an ordinary rope. Suyun could not let them find out, so he could not completely cut the rope. He still had to let them think that he did not have the ability to resist so that he could break free at the most critical moment. This small project sounded simple. It was just a small hole, so of course it would be easy to cut. However, it was not that easy to do. The material of this binding rope was very special and was quite resistant to wear. This was why Suyun had to use all his patience. As long as there was no one around, he would keep doing this. Blisters were already forming on his thumbs, and the binding rope had only been damaged on the surface. Suyun was prepared to welcome his own people at any time. However, he did not know what happened to Lin Gu in Yanjing. Not everyone could understand Suyun's thinking. That's right, Suyun's way of doing things was indeed enough to make the Americans not dare to admit it. It was also enough to make the Japanese mute and suffer a huge loss. However, this was an invasion after all. Hua Xia had always been a man of steel. Not to mention the fact that he was now well equipped. Even back in the day, he had used a Xiaomi and a rifle to chase away the Japanese's aircraft cannons. However, that was a battle of self-defense. However, if Wan Guangxiao ordered people to go to Japan's Pingding Mountain Island to fight, that would be fighting in someone else's territory. No matter what the reason, it was a form of invasion. Hua Xia's soldiers would not twist words and force logic. They would do whatever they wanted, and what they could and could not do. The rules were clear. Hua Xia's soldiers would not let any country bully their Hua Xia's territory, and they would definitely not invade any country in any way to fight. Even if he could confirm that Su Yun was brought to Japan's Pingding Mountain Island by American agents, Wan Guangxiao could not make such a decision. As a Hua Xia's soldier, he could understand his struggle and his dilemma. Su Yun could also understand, but Su Yun did not think of this step. His thoughts were all on how to teach General Adler a lesson, so he did not consider these things. Lin Gu could not understand. After all, he did not grow up in the Dragon Brigade. He was sent to Lu Xuanji's island by Wang Yi, and his identity was not a chivalrous hero full of justice. When he heard Wan Guangxiao look at the coordinates displayed on the map and say, "You can't go," he almost flipped the table on the spot. What kind of F***king logic was this? Lin Gu completely ignored the status of the chief and the elders, and immediately scolded, "They can F***king capture people in our territory, why can't we go and snatch them back?" However, Wan Guangxiao was very insistent. They could not do that. If they used robbers to rob Fu Chang, and gangsters to deal with gangsters, then where were the principles of Hua Xia's soldiers? This was a matter of principle. They could not go against it. Lin Gu left the Dragon Brigade and said, "F***ck your principles. If you don't save him, I will. You talk about principles, I don't have any. I **king know that my brother has been captured. If I don't save him, he will die." Wan Guangxiao wanted to get someone to stop him, but Lin Gu made up his mind and directly attacked. "Who the **ck dares to stop me? I'm going to risk my life with him." Chapter 1455. Even though it was the chief's order, the Dragon Brigade did not stop Lin Gu in the end. It was not because of Lin Ji's words of risking their lives, but because they had also placed their hopes on Lin Gu. This time, everyone was surprisingly calm. This involved not only a simple matter of saving people, but also the nature of the battle. If they really went and burned down the secret base, with their status, it would be equivalent to invading. Every Hua Xia citizen knew the faces of those bastards in the Japanese cabinet. Once they stabbed their American father in the back and admitted the existence of this secret base to the world, all the public opinion would shift to the nature of Hua Xia's military operations. This would have a negative impact on the country and its people. The consequences would be unimaginable. This kind of responsibility was not something that anyone could bear if they wanted to, nor was it something that any of them were qualified to bear. In the face of national interests and personal feelings, as the country's blade warriors, they did not even consider their own personal feelings and unconditionally chose national interests. Of course, they also felt uncomfortable. After all, they were flesh and blood. Giving up personal feelings would also make them feel extremely guilty in their hearts. They could only place all their hopes on Lin Gu. They knew Lin Ji's identity, they also knew Wan Leader, and they also knew Lin Ji's identity. As the last disciple of the evil god Lu Xuanji, they believed that he had the ability to help Su Yun. When Wan Guangxiao found out that they had failed to stop Lin Gu, he immediately understood the thoughts of his subordinates. He furrowed his brows and slammed the table angrily. He sighed helplessly and said, "This is simply nonsense. How can they compete with a secret base in the United States with just that little power? Isn't this courting death?" Wang Yi was silent for a while, then said, "If no one does this, then won't we really have to watch Su Yun die?" "No, that won't happen. I know Adele very well. He appreciates talents just like me. The reason why he ordered his men to take Su Yun away must be because of Su Yun's ability. What he wants is for Su Yun to surrender, not for Su Yun to die." Wan Guangxiao said, "This matter can't be handled so hastily. As long as Adele won't hurt Su Yun, we have other opportunities and ways to save Su Yun. You know that General Adele, but why don't you know Su Yun? Do you think Su Yun is the kind of person who will give in? It's impossible for him to give in." "What does this mean?" Wang Yi said helplessly, "This means that things may not develop as we think. This may mean that Su Yun's stubbornness will anger that General Adele. What if that happens? Who will guarantee Su Yun's safety?" Wan Guangxiao frowned. "Old Wang, So you agree with the decision of those brats? Let Lin Gu solve this matter through other means? And Wang Yi nodded. Although I don't know how Lin Gu did it, I believe that as long as those who know Su Yun and have the ability to participate in this matter know about Su Yun's current situation, they will all help him. Wan Guangxiao was startled when he heard that. Wang Yi continued, I believe that Su Yun has the charisma and ability to make those people help him. If it wasn't for my identity, I definitely wouldn't watch him get into trouble. Sigh. Wan Guangxiao was also anxious to save people, but he had to consider the big picture when he had to make a choice. This was where his responsibility lay, and also where his position was difficult. Just like in a small family, the head of the family would often be criticized behind his back. As long as he wanted to run a good family, he would have to do something that offended others. Wan Guangxiao wasn't running a small family. He was running the Dragon Brigade. This family was much more complicated. It involved not only the military, but also the country. It didn't matter if he was the bad guy. Some people could understand, some people couldn't, but it was fine as long as he had a clear conscience. In this generation, no matter what decision a person made, they would never be able to satisfy all the people around them. If he thought it was right, he would do it. The country gave him this power, which meant that the country trusted his decision, and any decision he made was right. That was why he could sit in this position. Sitting in this position, he had to put the country's interests first. This was Wan Guangxiao's principle. No matter how the world understood him, he was still him. He would always make decisions that were beneficial to the country. Even such a person had a soft spot in his heart. When Su Yun was taken away, although he said that he understood idea and wouldn't kill him, he was still very worried in his heart. Wan Guangxiao didn't say it out loud, but it wasn't as if he didn't have it in his heart. He was silent for a while, then suddenly said, Old Wang, why don't I give her a call? She will definitely intervene in this matter. Who? Wang Yi was stunned for a moment, but he quickly guessed that only this person could intervene in this matter and make Wan Guangxiao feel completely relieved. You want her to intervene in this matter? Yes. Wan Guangxiao said, she won't ignore it. Wang Yi nodded. Yes, she wouldn't ignore it. This way, he had nothing to worry about. Wang Yi's face suddenly relaxed. Why didn't I think of that? Lin Gu found out everything from Bai Xiaoye, so he contacted Su Yun. If we ask her for help, we don't have to ask. You and I both know that Bai Xiaoye is her daughter. She won't ignore her son. Wan Guangxiao also understood this logic. In that case, there was no need to worry about Su Yun. If Zhua Langyue made a move, even the U.S. military base in Alaska, which could suppress the northeast corner of Eurasia, guard the Bering Strait, and control all the routes to Eurasia through the Arctic Circle, would tremble all over, not to mention a small island base. In that case, the one you have to worry about isn't Su Yun. Wang Yi shrugged and smiled helplessly. The one you have to worry about is yourself. With her temper, she wouldn't be the empress if she didn't seek justice from you. Wan Guangxiao laughed. As long as she could help Su Yun get out of this situation, so what if she came to find trouble with him? He would rather let her slap him twice and scold him for being a coward. As long as he could have the best of both worlds, what did it matter if he suffered a little? In Wan Guangxiao's mind, personal interests were always the most insignificant in front of national interests. Of course, Su Yun didn't know anything about what happened in Huaxia. These days, he was still floating on the sea. When Lin Gu left Yanjing and returned to Qingdao, almost everyone put down what they were doing and gathered there, including Ruan Qingshuang and Qin Waner, who could not help much. None of them were absent. This matter could be considered the biggest difficulty they were facing. But everyone was surprisingly calm. Even Ruan Qingshuang didn't panic. She still remembered the first time she met Su Yun. She was so worried that she couldn't sleep for a few days just because some gangsters from the 4th Wolf Gang threatened Su Yun. But now, the enemy she was facing wasn't a gangster, but an American Secret Service agent. These days, she learned what was calmness and calmness by Su Yun's side. She understood that fear would only make people more and more powerless. She understood this very clearly. It was meaningless to panic. The first thing to do after encountering a problem was to calm down and think about how to solve it. That's how it is. After Lin Ge finished telling her the answer he received from the Dragon Brigade, he drank the whole glass of water in one gulp. He rushed back and forth and didn't even have time to drink water. Now, he was anxious and angry, and the corners of his mouth were blistered. Chapter 1456. After hearing Lin Ge's explanation, the first to speak was Hua Meiyan. She snorted and said disdainfully, "These cowards. Su Yun has done so many things for them, but now that Su Yun is in trouble, they don't say anything. They don't even know basic benevolence. How disappointing. Special Forces. Bull*T. Saying that they can't make a choice because of the country's reputation is just an excuse. Yes. That's a bunch of nonsense." Chong and the others, who were brought up by Su Yun, couldn't help but express their thoughts. They were anxious and afraid. If these thugs dared to touch Brother Yun, they wouldn't let them go, no matter how big of a bully they were. But they were King American Special Forces. It sounded like a movie, and they didn't even know where to start. Ruan Qingshuang didn't want everyone to be so agitated. She comforted them. "We can't stand in their position, so we can't deny their thoughts. But the country's reputation is very important. None of us can deny that. They have things they want to protect. Some things they can't do just can't be done. We can't force them to break other people's principles. Since they can't help, we can only rely on ourselves. Let's not talk about them." Lin Ge was still suppressing his anger. He couldn't let it out. "Sister Shuang, the country's reputation is important. But isn't my brother's life important? They're worried that the Japanese will use this as an excuse to say that we're invading. But we're saving people. We know it very well. We're doing things with a clear conscience. Is there anything wrong with that? Are we going to let my brother die because of a reputation? Be more auspicious with your words. Your brother won't die so easily." Cho Yun said coldly. This wasn't like her style. After being influenced by Ruan Qingshuang, Cho Yun became less impulsive. Lin Ge also wanted to slap his own mouth. His words were inauspicious, but even if he slapped himself 200 times, would Su Yun be alright? If he could, he would definitely do it without hesitation, but this was obviously impossible. Right now, everyone's mood was quite heavy, and their words were somewhat thorny. Lin Ge could understand this point. He knew that Cho Yun's words were not directed at him. Things might not be as bad as we think. Qin Wan analyzed the situation rationally. Through the way things have developed, we can already prove one thing. The other party will not easily hurt Su Yun. What they wanted was Su Yun's ability, not to hurt him. So let's all relax. Such a tense atmosphere won't help us at all. Lin Ge said, "Sister Wan, you're right. They won't hurt my brother easily, but if we can't save him in time, my brother won't cooperate with them. The consequences are not something we can predict. Since we're going to save him, if their people won't go, we'll go." Yi Farah said, "No matter how dangerous it is, we won't let go of any opportunity. They can't go because of their status in the army. They say it's an invasion, but we can go, right? We're not the army. The Americans can send agents to Huaxia to capture people. If we go to an island in Dongying to save people, we won't be in the wrong, right? I like the sound of that. If no one is going to save him, we'll go ourselves." Hua Meiyan agreed. "I definitely won't let Su Yun be locked up by them. If we save Su Yun, from now on, he will have nothing to do with that bullshit Dragon Brigade. There's no point in him going back to a team that doesn't even care about his life." Everyone was still quite agitated. Chong had never participated in anything dangerous. Brother Yun knew their level and would always ask them to retreat to the side to do odd jobs. But not this time. Although they only had basic skills, they had to advance and retreat with everyone. "No matter what you decide, I'll support you. Even if you ask me, Chong, to die as cannon fodder, I won't say a word. There must be Dongying devils there. If we go there and kill one, we'll break even. If we kill two, we'll make a profit. The three tigers of Nanqing also expressed their views. Our grandfathers fought with the Dongying devils in wars. As their grandsons, we can't be cowards. Their national hatred and family hatred were all out. It seemed like there was no way to stop them from making this decision. These people didn't lack experts, but there were also ordinary people. But if they really acted rashly, whether they could save Su Yun was another matter. How many of them could come back alive? Ruan Qingxuang was really worried. I know that each of you has made your own decision, Ruan Qingxuang said. What I want to say is, if one of you wants to save Su Yun, you have to bring me along. Her words stunned everyone. No one had considered bringing her along. Zhua Meiyan was the first to object. That won't do. Only one of us can go. One of us has to stay behind to deal with Sky Entertainment. If we have to go, it has to be me. Even if you go, you won't be able to help. Zhua Meiyan is right. You can't go, Yifala said. When we're not around, there are a lot of things that you have to manage. Leave Su Yun's matter to us. We promise you that even if we have to exchange our lives for Su Yun, we will bring him back. Why? Ruan Qingxuang said. Why can't I go? If I have to exchange my life for his, then my life is also a life. I can't just watch you go to a place that I don't know anything about. This time, no matter who tries to stop me, you can't stop me. If you want to go, then I want to go too. Don't try to stop me. With Ruan Qingxuang's words, the atmosphere was once again suppressed. The impulsive voices from before all quieted down. Ruan Qingxuang slowly opened her mouth. I understand Su Yun. I believe that you all understand Su Yun as well. Have you ever thought that if any one of your lives were used to bring him back, he would live in self-blame for the rest of his life? He's different from others. His emotions are very sensitive. Everyone was silent. Facing Ruan Qingxuang's words, they didn't know what to say. We definitely won't ignore this matter. However, I hope that we can all calm down and use the calmest method to resolve this matter. This is beneficial to all of us and will help all of us, Ruan Qingxuang said. Being impulsive will only cause us to lose our chance. Bai Xiaoye, who had been silent, finally spoke. Sister Shuang is right. Being impulsive will only cause us to lose our chance. If we rush over without thinking, not only will we not be able to save him, but we will also let the other party know that we know my brother's location. That way, we will have even less of a chance. I don't agree with meaningless sacrifices, so I hope that all of you can calm down. The problem was that calmness couldn't solve the problem. Everyone wanted to calm down, but how could they calm down? How could they calm down? Sister Shuang, calm everyone down. I will deal with this matter. Bai Xiaoye's expression was very calm. She wasn't joking when she said that she had a way. She really had the ability to do so. Basically, everyone present knew Bai Xiaoye's identity and the woman behind her who was at the peak of strength. If Zhua Lengyue, the Empress, stood out and said something, using the words of Master Jin Yong, no one in Zhonghu would dare to disobey her. However, those who knew Bai Xiaoye's identity also knew about her relationship with her Supreme Mother. Would she be able to speak up? No one knew this, so this topic had never been brought up. Now that she had brought it up herself, who knew what she was feeling in her heart? However, for Su Yun, for the only family in her heart in this world, she had no choice but to do so. Xiaoye, don't force yourself. We all understand, Ruan Qingxuang said faintly. She had experienced this feeling in the past. Bai Xiaoye smiled. Sister Shuang, don't worry about me. Persuade everyone to calm down. With that, Bai Xiaoye turned around and left. Everyone's eyes followed her until she disappeared from sight. Chapter 1457. Sometimes, the closer someone was to her, the harder it was for her to open her mouth. Especially after she had personally ruined the relationship, she couldn't even face it. Now, it was really difficult for her to open her mouth. Sometimes, people had to admit that the closer a person was to them, the harder it was to make up for it once they were hurt. The closer a person was to them, the sharper the cracks would be. Every time someone touched a person, they would feel a heart-wrenching pain. This kind of pain that didn't seem to leave any traces was often the sharpest sword. After leaving everyone, Bai Xiaoye stayed in the room alone for a while before she finally mustered up her courage. She knew that no matter when she dialed that number, her mother, whom she had called Master for 20 years, would pick up immediately. The moment the call connected, Bai Xiaoye, who had thought of more than 100 opening lines, was suddenly at a loss for words. She didn't know what to say. Should she greet her, address her, or apologize for disturbing her rest? No matter what she said, Bai Xiaoye felt as if her lips were sealed with wax. She just held the phone in silence, completely at a loss. Most people who received this kind of call would think that it was a harassment call and would definitely hang up. Bai Xiaoye was prepared to hear the busy tone, but a simple greeting came from the phone. "Xiaoye? How have you been recently?" Bai Xiaoye didn't know how to answer. To be honest, after leaving her, Bai Xiaoye had to start all over again. It couldn't be considered good because the price she paid was too great. However, she had been taken care of by Su Yun and his many friends. She really didn't suffer any grievances, so it couldn't be said that she wasn't doing well. Pretty good. In the end, Bai Xiaoye chose to be perfunctory. She deliberated for a long time before deciding on how to address her. "Master, something happened to Su Yun. I want to ask you to help me." The word "master" made Zhuo Langyue, who was on the other end of the phone, instantly tear up. Tears gushed out from the corners of her eyes like spring water, sliding down her delicate cheeks and falling to her chin. Zhuo Langyue felt both gratified and heartbroken. She didn't know how to describe this complicated feeling. What happened to Su Yun? He was taken away by a special agent under General Adler. He's currently being controlled at a secret military base on the southeast side of Tokyo's main island. Bai Xiaoye didn't have anything to hide. Since she had already spoken, she might as well tell him everything. Zhuo Langyue frowned. Based on her understanding of Su Yun, with Su Yun's strength and intelligence, it wouldn't be easy for him to be subdued by others. Even if he lost to his opponent, it wouldn't be so easy for his opponent to control him and take him to such a faraway place. There must be something fishy about this. He was captured. There must be a reason. Yes. Bai Xiaoye said indifferently, he did it on purpose because he exchanged himself for another hostage. Zhuo Langyue knew that this guy wouldn't be caught so easily. No wonder. It turned out that he was acting bravely for a just cause again. This time he actually got himself involved. And then he didn't manage to get away? That's why he was taken away. He planned it himself. He wanted those 2 special agents to take him to their secret base. He wanted to use this opportunity to destroy that secret base. Bai Xiaoye said, that's why he planned to be taken to that base by those 2 special agents. He also thought of a way to pass the message to me midway so that I could help him. Zhuo Langyue smiled. Silly child. The opponent is an American special agent. This must be a conflict with the Dragon Brigade. He thought of a way to pass the message to you so that you can pass the message to their troops. This is something that their troops should deal with. You don't need to worry. With the Dragon Brigade's strength, it's not difficult to attack a military base. Don't worry so much. Just pass the message. Bai Xiaoye was silent for a moment. Zhuo Langyue didn't hear a reply, so she asked again, you can't contact them? I'll help you contact them. No, Bai Xiaoye said. Bai Xiaoye said, we've already passed it on. He also asked us to pass it on to the army. But... Bai Xiaoye felt her chest tighten. She paused for a moment before continuing, but the army said they can't interfere in this matter. Zhuo Langyue's temper wasn't as gentle as her appearance suggested. She frowned immediately. What does the Dragon Brigade mean? Something happened to one of their men and they don't care? This is not their style. Xiao Yi, is there something wrong between the 2 of you? Although I don't know the Dragon Brigade's Wan, I believe that he's definitely not a heartless person. Zhuo Langyue found it unbelievable because she didn't know Wan Guangxiao. Those who truly knew Wan Guangxiao would definitely understand why he didn't save Bai Xiaoye. There's no mistake. Bai Xiaoye continued, it's because my brother is locked up in a military base on an island in Japan. Once they send out their troops, they will be accused of invading. This will severely affect their reputation. It will affect the country's reputation, and it will bring about serious consequences to the world's public opinion. Zhuo Langyue tried her best to suppress the anger in her heart. Just because of this little bit of public opinion. Just because of this little bit of reputation. Wan Guangxiao, you old bastard, you're really a jerk. Wan Guangxiao knew that when he made that decision, he would be criticized and scolded by everyone who knew about the situation. However, he still insisted on doing so. He also scolded himself for being too cruel in handling this matter. However, he really didn't have a second choice. I have to ask for your help. I don't want to see these loyal people around me sacrifice themselves for Su Yun. Bai Xiaoye said, Master, I beg you, please help him. Of course, Zhuo Langyue wouldn't ignore this matter. Even if Bai Xiaoye didn't beg her, she wouldn't ignore this matter if she knew about it. It didn't matter if she was Su Yun's stepmother or not. Just because Su Yun was that man's son, she wouldn't let others bully him. Wan Guangxiao, you want face and reputation. You think about the country because your identity is different and you have a high position. But I, Zhuo Langyue, am different. I am me. Even the heavens can't control what I want to do. Even if she blew up Dongying Island, she would let whoever dared to say a word about her sink to the bottom of the sea like Dongying Island. Of course, I won't watch my daughter's only brother get bullied. When Zhuo Langyue said this, her killing intent was already rising. However, these words were very heartwarming in Bai Xiaoye's ears. Bai Xiaoye knew that it wasn't that Zhuo Langyue didn't want to acknowledge her as her daughter. She also had her own difficulties. Although she called her master for 20 years, in all fairness, there was no difference between her master and her mother. The only difference was the way she addressed her. That was all. Mom, thank you. Bai Xiaoye changed the way she addressed her. Although her voice was very soft, it was like a bolt from the blue in Zhuo Langyue's ears. Happiness came too suddenly. Zhuo Langyue, who was recognized as the supreme empress of Hua Xia's underground world, actually had a time when she didn't know what to do. It was because this form of address was too wonderful. She had never experienced this kind of happiness before. Only at this moment did Zhuo Langyue realize that a form of address was so important. Bai Xiaoye was angry with her for a reason. Chapter 1458. Although the island on the southeast side of Japan was small, it had everything. Su Yun had a basic understanding of the island after staying there for a day. The island was not big, at most 100 square kilometers. That was not a concrete description. For example, it was about the size of a county city, and it was only a matter of a few kilometers. Even an elderly man would not take more than 3 hours to walk around the island. Most of the island was covered by mountains and forests. There was almost no empty space. Only the command post of the base was in the middle of the island, hidden by the forest along with a small airport. The bottom of the mountain was a completely different world. The entire bottom of the mountain was almost hollowed out. There were about 100 soldiers stationed there, and they were all elite troops. There were more than a dozen amphibious mobile equipment, a cruiser, several airplanes, and all kinds of weapons and equipment. If Su Yun guessed correctly, the garrison here was definitely a mobile force with quick reaction. If something happened on the west side of the Pacific Ocean, such a hidden military base could react quickly and catch the enemy off guard. Of course, with such a scale, it could only be considered a small base. Since it was a secret base, it could not be hidden if it was too big. Therefore, this place was probably more of a transfer point for the American agents. Because in the day that Su Yun stayed on the island, he saw 3 agents enter the island and go out to sea. There was also one who was picked up by a plane after arriving. Yudikin, you have been here long enough. Haven't you thought about it? The Major General of the American Army should be the highest commander of the island. He welcomed the entry and exit of any agent, but he did not welcome any agent to stay for long. From his expression, Su Yun could see that he wanted to chase them away. Major General, do you think we want to stay here? We have no choice. General Ade asked us to give Captain Yen Long some time, Yudikin said. I hope you can understand. The Major General did not avoid Su Yun's words. He was a man of character. It's not that I don't understand you. This is our principle. The longer you stay in my transit station, the more dangerous it will be. We all know this simple logic, but if you think I'm thinking for all of us, then don't. Yudikin Beeger, I'll always welcome you back, but this time, you've stayed long enough. Beeger frowned. Major General, if I remember correctly, there's an unwritten rule in your secret base transfer station. The transfer agents must complete the transfer within 24 hours as much as possible. We haven't even been here for 24 hours, have we? Even if there is, we can't leave now. General Ade needs Captain Yen Long to stay here for one more day. This is the time we need. Yudikin argued as well. They needed to rest. Only here could they sleep peacefully without worrying about their companion's schemes or Su Yun's escape. One day was not enough for them to recuperate. The Major General was also very helpless. Since General Ade said so, I will definitely obey the order. But what I want to say is that if anything happens to the base because of your long stay, you will have to take full responsibility. Yes. Yudikin nodded. Beeger and I will take all the responsibility. If anything bad happens to the base because of us, Beeger and I will take full responsibility. Take what responsibility? It's not our problem. Why should we take responsibility? Beeger said. This transit station was set up because of our existence. Since when did we have to listen to the arrangements of the garrison on the island? Major General, I advise you to think clearly. Your attitude towards us is the same as your attitude towards General Ade. The Major General straightened his body. Don't use the General to suppress me. No matter who it is, on this island, they have to follow the rules. I'm giving the General face, so I'll let you stay for one more day. If anything happens in the next 24 hours, I will take responsibility. If you don't leave after 24 hours, if anything happens, it will have nothing to do with me. Yudikin laughed. No, from now on, we will take responsibility. Beeger frowned. He was puzzled. Was Yudikin stupid? Why did he have to take responsibility? Wasn't this just asking for trouble? Do you like to take responsibility for others so much? Major General, you were assigned to this place because you have to take responsibility. The Major General shook his head and ignored them. He directly left. Every time an agent entered the island, he would have to bear a corresponding responsibility. This was why he hoped that these people would leave as soon as possible. As long as they left, it would mean the end of a responsibility. He just wanted to work hard and not make any mistakes. He wanted the higher-ups to see his attitude and ability. This way, he could leave this small military base earlier and take up a post in a bigger fortress. As a Major General, this wasn't much of an ambition. It was just a pursuit of his career. After seeing the Major General leave, Yudikin said to Beeger, "So what if you take responsibility? This is a godforsaken island, and no one knows about it. What can happen? What responsibility can you take? Sometimes, you can't be too stubborn. If we don't take this chance to rest and recuperate, the sooner we go back, the sooner we can start our mission. I don't want to work with such a tired body." Beeger ignored Yudikin's words. "Of course, I want to rest for a few more days, but I just can't stand the way he doesn't dare to take responsibility. How can he be a general with this kind of tolerance? What's wrong with his face? I want to stay here and not take any responsibility for him. Let's see what he can do to me." Then you eat and drink from others. You have to bow your head when you're under someone else's roof, Yudikin said. You won't die if you're polite. Being stubborn might not be the same. Beeger, as a friend, I'm warning you. If he can become a major, he must have his own abilities. It's better not to offend someone like him. Otherwise, you can't take it. Humph. Beager rested for a day and recovered most of his strength. Naturally, he was a little arrogant. He's just a major general. What can he do to us? Beager didn't know his place. Udikin didn't remind him anymore. Just let him be. At most, he would die at the hands of someone else. This might not be a bad thing for him, but he would miss the chance to have a partner again. This was wishful thinking on Udikin's part. Beager would rather die than be partners with someone who would shoot him in the back at any time. The quarrel also piqued Su Yun's interest. The safer they thought it was, the more likely it would be a big problem if something happened. Looks like it's because I'm here that I've caused trouble for you and the Major General's hatred for you. Why don't we leave tonight? You guys should go back and report to the General about the situation here. Tell him that he doesn't welcome you. Captain Yen Long, we've embarrassed ourselves in front of you. You can think about it and rest here. We'll go whenever you want. This is the privilege the General gave you. You don't have to worry about our feelings, Udikin said. The General wants you to think about it carefully. Once you see the General, you have to give him an answer. The General is a straightforward person. Su Yun smiled. No matter what answer I give, I'll go see him, right? Yes. Udikin's expression became serious. But you have to think about it carefully. Your two different answers will lead to two different outcomes. Obey and you will get everything you want. Fame, status, power, money. But if you resist, I won't say much. With Captain Yen Long's knowledge, you'll definitely be able to figure it out. Su Yun smiled. If that's the case, resisting the General is not a wise choice. Chapter 1459. Su Yun took advantage of his free time and went to a cliff by the coast to calculate the time. It was already the 5th day since he left Hua Xia. As for the slight time difference, there was no need to calculate. With the Dragon Brigade's reaction speed and mobility, it should be time for them to take action. But now the sea was so calm. This was not the kind of calm before danger, it was a kind of peaceful feeling. Did something go wrong? Su Yun was stunned. Lin Guo was experienced and quick-witted. He could not have messed up such a big thing. After calming down and carefully considering the pros and cons, Su Yun suddenly realized his biggest mistake. After a long period of lack of discipline in the army, he had forgotten the most basic task of protecting the country. First of all, he could not let the country's reputation be tarnished. And this time, if the Dragon Brigade really arranged to cooperate with him to attack the secret military base, they would have to bear the risk of being accused by the Japanese of invading. This was an operation that could only be carried out with the country's reputation as a guarantee. Not to mention Wan Guangxiao, even if Su Yun knew about this in the Dragon Brigade, he could not bear such a risk. Now, Su Yun was very sure that the chief would never arrange for his brothers to carry out this mission. He had considered everything, but he had forgotten the identities of his brothers in the Dragon Fury team. He had forgotten his own identity. This mistake made Su Yun a little frustrated. He was not upset that no one came to rescue him, but he was upset that his mistake would make things difficult for Lin Guo. Lin Guo was not a soldier, and he did not have the mindset of putting the country's reputation and interests first. His master, Lu Xuanji, was originally a person who did things his own way, so he chose to live on an island in the Caribbean Sea. Lin Guo, who grew up under the influence of such conditions, would naturally bear the risk of this matter. However, Su Yun was very clear that while Lin Guo was able to organize a sufficiently powerful team to rescue him, without tacit understanding, cooperation, and combat experience, even if they were able to obtain the final victory, the losses they would suffer would definitely be quite severe. And all of this would be caused by Su Yun's overconfidence and arbitrary judgment. These were the things that made Su Yun vexed and depressed. Everything that could happen would become a huge stone hanging in Su Yun's heart. Captain Yen Long, what are you thinking about? I called you several times, but you didn't respond. Udikin slowly walked over from not far away. He was not worried that Su Yun would be alone on the cliff looking at the sea. If a person with his hands tied wanted to jump into the sea and escape to the mainland of Huaxia, where it would take a few days to travel by boat, it would be a complete fantasy. Therefore, as long as he was at the base, Yudikin did not need to keep an eye on him at all times. At this moment, he just felt that Su Yun had been silent in this place for a long time before he came to take a look. He hoped that Su Yun had thought it through during this period of time squatting on the cliff and would work with them in the future. Then, he would also invite Matthew back to the United States to provide efficient services for their agents. However, Su Yun did not look like someone who would be easily convinced, let alone someone who would bow down so easily. Yen Long, if you don't mind, can the two of us put aside our differences and have a chat? Yudikin smiled slightly. I don't know why you're so obedient to us. At first, I was worried, but then I suddenly realized that you wanted to see the general. That's why I brought you back here. I've been honest with you. Can you also talk to me about why you want to see the general? Su Yun smiled faintly. As a special agent under General Ade, he wasn't that stupid. It was within Su Yun's expectations that they would be able to see through this. You want to know why I want to see the general? Then, if I answer you, will you believe me? Yudikin was stunned. Su Yun was really sharp when it came to judging people. Indeed, although he said that he would be honest with him, no matter what answer Su Yun gave him, he would not believe him 100%. This was a habit he could not change. Yudikin smiled awkwardly. Maybe not before, but now, since Captain Yen Long said so, I will definitely believe you. Forget it. Su Yun said nonchalantly, how can a fellow who doesn't even believe his own people believe the words of an opponent like me? Your words might be able to fool primary school students below 3rd grade, but forget it if you want to fool me. I said that I want to see the general because I want to tell him personally to stop messing with me. If he does, I'll make him suffer. Do you believe me? Yudikin was once again speechless by Su Yun. Of course, he did not believe him. This was obviously Su Yun's joke. However, Su Yun was telling the truth. Su Yun wanted to use Yudikin and Beagle's contact information to contact General Ade through the base's videophone after destroying the base. He wanted to tell him exactly what he wanted to say. That's why it's useless for me to tell you. Even if I did, you wouldn't believe me. Su Yun waved his hand and sighed. If he had to choose between the pros and cons, the special forces would not come. Therefore, Su Yun's wish might not come true at all. This made Su Yun very uncomfortable. It was as if there was a fishbone stuck in his throat. He could not spit it out or swallow it. Yudikin laughed. Then I believe you. However, I want to tell you that your wish will never come true. Because the one who will suffer is you, not the general. Captain Yen Long, if you don't have the upper hand, you won't even have the chance to say these words. Su Yun laughed bitterly. Yes, I won't even have the chance to say these words. That would be a joke. Su Yun was in a terrible mood. He wouldn't regret it if he ended up in a hopeless situation because of his own error in judgment. A man had to be responsible for all his decisions. This was called taking responsibility. If his brothers and friends died because of his error in judgment, that would be a sin. He had been trying to find a way to contact them on the cliff, but there was nothing he could do. There was nothing he could do. This was a dead end. He had no chance to regret his move. One wrong move would lead to many wrong moves. In the end, he would fail. Su Yun understood this simple logic better than anyone else. There was nothing he could do. What kind of person is General Ade in your eyes? Su Yun asked calmly. Yudikin thought for a moment. If you ask me, the general is a great person in my eyes. He is my benefactor. He gave me a chance to live, gave me meaning to live, gave me identity, gave me status. He is a person who gave me everything. Perhaps in the eyes of many, he is sinister, despicable, and cunning. But in my eyes, he is the greatest person to me. Su Yun nodded. No one would be recognized by everyone, and no one would be despised by everyone. No matter how great a person was, there would still be people who looked down on them. No matter how poor a person was, there would still be people who respected them. the heavens were fair. Just like the gambling match between Su Yun and General Ade. He kept winning, but in the end, he realized that he could not use his cards. Then, he lost miserably. Chapter 1460. Su Yun was not someone who would easily accept his fate. He looked down at the ropes that had been broken by him. If there was still a chance, it would probably be on the plane to evacuate the island. If he won, he would be able to escape unscathed. Although he would not be able to achieve the final goal of destroying the secret base, he would be able to bring the two bastards back to be dealt with. If he did not win, Su Yun would not let them leave so easily. Once he broke free, the other party would definitely be in shock. If he could not win, Su Yun would at least take them down with him. He would not let them leave just like that. On the day he officially became a member of the Dragon Fury team, Su Yun knew that he would have to be prepared to sacrifice himself at any time. He was not afraid of sacrifice, but he was afraid of how many people his sacrifice would bring pain to. Su Yun was no longer the fearless person he used to be. After going through life and death, he realized the importance and significance of himself to the people around him. He could no longer face problems with the mentality that he did not care about anything. It was just a life, and after 18 years, he would be a hero again. Su Yun clearly realized that his responsibility had increased. His life was not only his own, but also the life of many people. Faced with such a choice, Su Yun suddenly realized how insignificant a person's power was. He had no ability to fight against fate at all. If he underestimated his own life and did anything irrational, it could not be called brave or meaningless. It was just an irresponsible behavior. Captain Yen Long, I think you have something on your mind? Yutakin raised his eyebrows. The Su Yun he was facing now was a completely different person from the one he had met a few days ago. If you are just thinking about your homeland, family, and friends, then as a friend and a partner who may work together in the future, I would like to apologize to you. But if you're still thinking about other things, I'm afraid I'll have to remind you that even if you're a dragon, it'll still be difficult for you to escape. Su Yun suddenly turned around to look at Yutakin. The coldness and domineering look in his eyes made Yutakin's heart skip a beat. He had seen this look before, when he had attacked their captain. The captain, who had been drugged and unable to move, had used this look to bid farewell to him. This was not a good memory. Yutakin took a step back, his entire body tense. He was ready to fight at any time. Even if Su Yun's hands were still not free to move, he would not underestimate him and would not let his guard down. Flame Dragon, what's wrong? Do you really want to test how capable you are? Don't forget, this is our secret military base in Dongying. No matter how big of a commotion we cause, no outsiders will know. Do you understand? Su Yun still didn't answer. He was struggling in his heart. What should he do? It was impossible for the Dragon Brigade to send out troops. He would have to rely on his own judgment for this matter. You've seen the attitude of the Major General. He's been rejecting us, worried that we'll cause trouble for him. If you really want to cause trouble, you'll be disgracing me and Beagle, Yutakin said. Yutakin said, when the time comes, if the Major General wants to make you suffer, the two of us won't have the face to speak. Su Yun, you must think carefully. If you act on impulse, you'll be the one at a disadvantage. Seeing that Su Yun still had no intention of relaxing, Yutakin became even more nervous. This is a secret base on the island. The underground prison, the water prison, any of these places can make you beg for death. Listen to me, give up if you have to. Su Yun was on guard, not because of Yutakin, but because he felt something. However, he couldn't pinpoint what it was. It was a strange feeling of threat, as if there were many invisible mysterious forces surrounding him. At the same time, this threat made him feel strangely safe. Vaguely, Su Yun felt a little excited, and the blood in his body began to boil. Yen Long, do you understand what I'm saying? No matter what happens here, no one in this world will know. Even if you die here. Because this is our secret base. Facing Su Yun in this state, Yutakin couldn't remain calm at all. The invisible pressure made him anxious and uneasy. "Stop pretending. Come back with me." "Shoo." A whistle pierced through the night and drilled into their ears. 10 meters away, a figure appeared out of thin air without warning. Su-Yun and Yutakin looked over in surprise, but neither of them could see the figure in the dark. "Who's there?" Yutakin was on high alert, but he had complete trust in their secret military base. He believed that this person could not be an outsider, and must be someone from the underworld. If it was one of the soldiers on the island who was joking with him, he would definitely reprimand him. But if it was one of the Japanese soldiers who worked for them on the island, he would break his neck immediately. "Is your island really as secret as you say?" The figure spoke in fluent Mandarin, causing Su-Yun to tremble. At the same time, it also shocked Yutakin. That was impossible. Other than Su-Yun, there shouldn't be any Hua-Xia people on this island. The figure completely ignored Yutakin's shock and continued to ask, "If something happens here, will the world really not know? You Americans are really naturally confident. Aren't you afraid that your Japanese lackeys will expose you?" Yutakin's mind couldn't process this person's question at all. He still couldn't figure out how the person in front of him came to the rocky cliff on the coast. One had to know that in order to escape from the eyes of two experts like him and Su-Yun, one's speed was definitely not something an ordinary person could imagine. Unless this person's explosive power was faster than a bullet. "Could you be lightning?" Su-Yun's voice was filled with disbelief and amazement. In this world, the only person who could be so fast was probably the all-powerful lightning Ling Feng from 10 years ago. However, everyone in the underground world had heard that Ling Feng had gone into hiding after challenging Zhuo Langyue at his peak and never appeared again. Some people said that he had died in the hands of the Empress, while others said that the Empress had made a bet with him. If he lost, he would never appear in public again. All in all, this legendary figure had never appeared in the underground world since then. "Hee. Young fellow with the surname Su, I didn't expect your eyes to be so sharp," the figure said faintly. "When I left the underground world, you were probably still underage, right?" Obviously, Su-Yun had guessed correctly. The other party was indeed the all-powerful Ling Feng from 10 years ago. He was called Lightning because almost everyone who had fought with him had been defeated before they could even see his moves. His stealthy movements were even more frightening. In that era, there was no one who didn't know of Ling Feng's name. Many years later, his influence still existed. Many people said that he was the embodiment of the truth. In the world of martial arts, only speed is invincible. However, as time passed and new talents surged in the past 10 years, people gradually allowed Lightning Ling Feng to walk out of their memories. Today, this legendary expert was actually standing in front of him without any warning. Su-Yun's shock was inevitable, because when he was a teenager, he used to idolize Lightning Ling Feng. Yutakin realized that the seemingly invincible secret military base had undergone a major change. The guy who had suddenly appeared in front of him was definitely a very troublesome person. He had to strike first to gain the upper hand. Just as Yutakin was about to make his move, hysterical screams came from the base command center. Soon, the entire base was in chaos, and the fuel depot was immediately detonated. The originally small island glowed a bright red under the illumination of the fire. This small island that had been hidden quietly for who knows how many years had finally ushered in the day of its own bloody disaster. "Young fellow, can you handle this? We're here to save you. You can't just sit back and do nothing, right?" Ling Feng had unknowingly approached. Su-Yun did not expect him to look so young. He looked to be in his early 30s. "You can handle this yourself. I still have to go down and report that you're safe. I won't accompany you." F***CK. This guy was really a maverick. Su-Yun was sure that he could see that his wrists were bound, but he did not intend to help him. He even went to report that he was safe. However, Su-Yun was more curious about something. "Who are you going to report to? Isn't that obvious? Do you think there's anyone in Hua-Xia's underground world who can order your brother Feng around?" Ling Feng said and disappeared in a flash. Yutakin, who was about to attack him, was almost blinded. Attacking first to gain the upper hand? Yudikin really should thank God that he did not let the other party attack him. He was too fast, so fast that he almost did not see anything. Chapter 1461. Yudikin looked at Su Yun as if he wanted to tear him to shreds. Yen Long. So you planned this all along? Su Yun shrugged and said helplessly, I did plan this all along, but what's happening now is not what I planned. But I admit, I like the current situation too much. Haha, what can you do to me? Since the first day the general arranged for people to enter Huaxia, he should have predicted what retribution was. Good will be rewarded with good, and evil will be punished with evil. It's not that there's no retribution, it's just that the time hasn't come yet. And now, the time has come. Then let me tell you, don't think that 3 to 5 experts can take care of a military base. These people are well equipped, and they're all sharpshooters trained by the Marine Corps. Yudikin said confidently, since you still dare to send people to their deaths, then we'll make you give up completely. We'll take you away. Kevin Matthew, we'll take you away too. Let's not talk about Matthew first. Whether or not you can take me away is already a problem. Su Yun smiled. Yudikin, you're a smart man. When it's time to let go, you should let go. Admit defeat and avoid suffering. The general once taught me that if I can't get something, then I can't let others get it either. If we don't have it, then we're still on equal footing. Yudikin was already filled with killing intent. Since I can't take you away today, then I can only destroy you. If the general can't get something, then he definitely won't let you Huaxia people take it back. Yen Long, don't blame me for being heartless. You asked for all of this. As soon as he finished speaking, Yudikin exerted force on his feet and shot out. His movements were clean and swift, and he went straight for Su Yun's vital points. There was no hesitation in his movements, and he was definitely going to kill him. Because Su Yun's hands were bound, he couldn't defend himself if he couldn't break free. At such a close range, it was impossible to dodge. Yudikin was still very confident in facing someone whose hands were bound. Even if the opponent was strong, if he couldn't resist, then it was nothing more than an empty shell. However, something completely unexpected happened. His fist was caught by Su Yun's hand, and the special material binding Su Yun's hands had already snapped. This was simply too inconceivable. Impossible. Yudikin's heart was almost hysterical. This was absolutely impossible. This material had been tested through countless scientific studies. How many times did it take 2,000 horsepower to break it at the same time? It was impossible for a human's arms to have such great strength. No one could do it. Indeed, this kind of binding rope was definitely not something a human could break free from. Even Li Moran, who had monstrous strength, couldn't break the binding rope with his strength alone. Su Yun now had to thank the hairpin he had gotten from his sister. If it hadn't been for the small patch that destroyed the most tensile material on the surface of the binding rope, Su Yun wouldn't have been able to break the rope even if he broke the bones in his arms. How did you do it? Yudikin couldn't believe his eyes. What he thought was absolutely impossible had now happened. Everyone had a psychological limit. Yudikin had already given up on saving the base. He only wanted to destroy Su Yun and then find a way to escape. This was the worst possible answer he could give the general. But now, Su Yun wasn't so easy to deal with. Of course, Su Yun wouldn't tell the truth. For so many days, I've been eating well, sleeping well, and conserving my energy. Naturally, I have endless energy. Unlike you, you're always on tenterhooks, guarding against your own people, as if you're afraid that you'll be skinned alive. You want to take me down just like that? General Aude is looking down on people too much. No, I should say that he thinks too highly of you. You used us? Yudikin was stunned. From the beginning, everything you told me was to use me? Do you know why your stomach hurts? Su Yun laughed. That day, I asked Beagle to add something to the burger you ate at the service area on the highway. Do you know why he did that? That's because he knew that if he didn't do that, you would have done something to him when you went into the sea that night. After a pause, Su Yun continued, don't tell me you wouldn't have done it. If you really didn't have a stomachache that day, wouldn't you have done it to Beagle on the speedboat? Ha ha. If you didn't, then you would have been the unlucky one. When Beagle saw General Aude, he would have definitely told him that you killed Arnie. Although I don't know what kind of person General Aude is, I can be sure of one thing. No leader would allow their subordinates to kill each other. Yen Long, did you know? Before our mission began, the general emphasized over and over again that you were a difficult person to deal with. I've been very careful because I was afraid that you would play tricks. Yutakin laughed bitterly. But even so, I still couldn't escape from your scheme. Su Yun waved his hand. Don't say that. I wasn't scheming. I was just protecting myself. You forced me to do it. If you didn't use such petty methods to force me to submit, we wouldn't be in this situation today. Yutakin threw his head back and laughed. Ha ha, well said. Indeed, everything that happened today was because of my own actions. Yen Long, now that there's only the two of us here, let's have a fair fight. If I lose, you can do whatever you want with me. If you lose, I'll make you pay with your blood for everything that happened here today. So far, you're the person I want to kill the most in my life. So far, you're also the most arrogant person I've ever met in my life. You're the smartest person who's been fooled by your own cleverness, Su Yun said with disdain. You wouldn't dare to admit what happened today to the world, would you? Yutakin narrowed his eyes. Of course they wouldn't dare. This secret base was basically set up to provide spying services. If the Asian countries found out, they would definitely be strongly condemned. Perhaps many people thought that condemnation was useless and meaningless. The person being condemned wouldn't hurt, wouldn't itch, and wouldn't lose a piece of flesh. In fact, condemnation was an act of grace, but to the person being condemned, there was no doubt that they would be scolded in the face. Even if they were hit by spittle, they wouldn't be able to say anything. It would still be very sullen. This was why the Americans would use military theory to interfere in the internal affairs of other countries and instigate war after being condemned by some small countries. But in the face of Hua Xia's scolding, they didn't dare to do anything. They could only swallow their grievances. For so many years, the Americans had encouraged their lackeys to spread the theory that Hua Xia was a threat. They wanted the whole world to silently isolate Hua Xia and try to create the phenomenon that Hua Xia was a hypocrite. However, a gentleman was a gentleman, and a hypocrite was a hypocrite. The people of any country weren't stupid. Everyone could see that Hua Xia treated people and things differently. How could a country of etiquette do such shameless and despicable things? For so many years, the Japanese had constantly provoked and caused trouble. They had constantly tried to make Hua Xia do something ungentlemanly and irrational. They wanted to seize the opportunity and not let go of it, but they never had the chance. Hua Xia never gave them any chance. The leaders of every generation used their own actions to show the world the demeanor of Hua Xia, the demeanor of Hua Xia's people. Therefore, their plot to smear Hua Xia's reputation had never succeeded. Now that the matter of this secret base was spread, the Americans and their Japanese lackeys would be at the forefront of public opinion. When that time came, the ones who would be embarrassed would be them. No one will know what happened today. Yutakin said, any intruder on the island will eventually sink into the sea. Yen Long, don't be so whimsical. You have to get past me first. As soon as he finished speaking, he punched out. Yutakin's body was like the wind, once again approaching Su Yun. Su Yun, whose hands had been freed from the restraints, did not hesitate to get into a fighting stance and step forward. Ling Feng's words just now still lingered in Su Yun's ears. Someone had come to save him, so he couldn't just wait. He had to do something. Chapter 1462. Su Yun knew that this was his own business. Su Yun did not have the habit of letting others wipe the mud off his heels. Today he was helping him, and he was grateful for this favor on behalf of all the countries and people in Asia who had been harassed by spies. As for himself, he did not want to trouble others to save him. Yutakin's moves were vicious, and every move was aimed at a vital point. If he had lime powder in his pocket, he would have thrown it at Su Yun's eyes a long time ago. Unfortunately, this island did not even have a sandy beach, and there was nothing on the rocky cliffs that could be used. If Yudikin could only rely on some of the vicious moves he had learned in his early years to deal with Su Yun, he would not be able to do so. However, although Yudikin's moves were vicious, Su Yun's moves were also cunning enough. To deal with someone like this, you could not let him know your moves. If he wanted to play dirty, you had to play dirty even more. If he wanted to throw lime powder at your eyes, you had to poke his eyes with your fingers. If he wanted to hurt your vitals by kicking you in the groin, you had to use monkey-picking peaches to end his bloodline. This was the only way to make him afraid, to make him hesitate, and only this way could you deal with his vicious moves. This was called fighting poison with poison. Su Yun did not want to lose face for himself in the end. He did not want to lose face for the Divine Dragon Brigade's chief, his master, and his brothers. If the heroes who came to help were not injured, and he could not stand up, how could he survive in this Jianghu in the future? Yudikin tried to find an opening to attack repeatedly, but unfortunately, Su Yun's defense was much tighter than he had imagined. What made him even more unprepared was that Su Yun's use of giving him a taste of his own medicine was quite fluent. Every time Yudikin tried to play dirty, Su Yun would always use the same trick to force him back. As a result, Yudikin unknowingly fell into a disadvantageous position. It was not that Yudikin was weak. He was definitely one of the best among General Aid's subordinates, but he was facing Su Yun, a person whose willpower was much stronger than his. The flames of war continued to spread in the base. In his panic, Beagle looked around for Su Yun and Yudikin. When he noticed that the two of them were not around, he panicked. That bastard Yudikin was someone who could fight for credit at any time. Who knew if he had planned this riot long ago? Seeing that the secret base was getting more and more chaotic, several teams of Imperial lackeys arranged by the Japanese on the island joined the battle, but their appearance was equivalent to suicide. Beagle didn't know how many people came, but he was certain that the other party was too ruthless. Each of them was an expert among experts. They weren't people that the Allied army could contend against. Moreover, they were ruthless enough to deal with the Allied army. They were basically able to kill one of them with a single move. Beagle didn't have the time to check if there were any survivors. His efforts paid off, and Beagle finally found Yudikin and Su Yun on the cliff. The two of them were evenly matched, and there was no clear winner after more than 50 rounds. Seeing Beagle appear, Yudikin's eyes lit up. Beagle! Quick! Surround Yen Long from the front and back. We can't let him escape. He was the one who invited these people. If we can't take him down today, the general will definitely blame us. We cannot be friends in the future, but we must be allies now. We were all fooled by him. Beagle was very confused. He did not know if he should believe Yudikin's words, but he was sure that if Su Yun escaped, the general would definitely blame him. Ha ha ha, Yudikin, you really know how to talk. Su Yun smiled slightly. Just now, you said that you would let Beagle deal with the mess on this island, and that you would take me to escape first. If I didn't agree, you would attack. Now you're suddenly changing your mind? Are you telling the truth? If Su Yun wanted to sow discord between the two of them, it would be a piece of cake. It wasn't because he had a glib tongue, nor was it because he had a glib tongue. It was because the trust between the two of them was too low. There was no trust at all. What nonsense are you talking about? Yudikin scolded angrily. He was already at a disadvantage in the confrontation with Su Yun. He knew very well that he was only able to get to this point because he had been struggling. Otherwise, he would have knelt at Su Yun's feet. Now that he had Beagle, he had to persuade him to help him. Beagle, don't believe him. He's been trying to sow discord between us all this time. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have fallen to this point. Beagle did not dare to trust anyone. One was a companion he had no trust in, and the other was an opponent he wanted to capture and bring to the general. Who could he trust? He could not trust anyone. The only thing he could trust was his own judgment. I'm trying to sow discord between you two? Beagle, you know very well what I've done. Su Yun raised his wrists for Beagle to see. Did you see that? To show his sincerity, he even removed the restraints on my wrists. If you still don't believe me, I can't do anything about it. If he's not trying to convince me, why would he do that? Beagle suddenly realized what was going on, and pointed his finger at Yudikin. You really never give up on the chance to trick me. Don't listen to his nonsense. It's not what you think at all. Yudikin glared. How could I be stupid enough to untie him? He broke it himself. I didn't untie him at all. Use your brain and think about it. It's precisely because I used my brain that I shouldn't believe your nonsense. Beagle spat. Yudikin, do you really think I'm an idiot? We all know very well what kind of material the ropes are made of. How can a human break it? Ha ha ha, not to mention 1 Su Yun, even 10 Su Yuns wouldn't be able to break it. This is a restraining rope developed by the scientists at our Pinnacle laboratory. It's not some rubbish rope. Yudikin scratched the hair on his forehead. I know it's not an ordinary rope. But he was still able to break free. Whether you believe it or not, it's the truth. Su Yun did not say anything. He only made a helpless expression. He knew that Beagle was looking at him. That expression was enough. I'd be an idiot to believe you. Beagle spat. Yudikin, you look down on people too much. Do you think I'd believe such a lousy lie? Try breaking it for me. If Yen Long could break this rope, it wouldn't be so difficult to deal with you. He would have crushed you long ago. Would you still have the chance to talk so much nonsense to me? Yudikin did not know how to explain. Beagle, believe me this once. This is really Su Yun's scheme. It's really a scheme. I won't believe you anymore, Yudikin. Just give up. Beagle said. I'll tell the general that you killed Yoni. Whether you survive today or not, the general won't let you off easily. Yudikin was completely speechless. Beagle, are you crazy? Have you ever thought that if you don't help me take down Yen Long today, do you think you'll be able to bring him back to the general? Unless you have 3 heads and 6 arms. Otherwise, even if you have wings, you won't be able to escape this damned place. You and I can see what's going on now. Beagle sneered. How do I know if this is a good show directed by you? Yudikin, you've been a pirate for so many years. It's not difficult for you to call some people over at sea. You're an idiot. Yudikin was completely speechless at Beagle. This guy would never believe him. Fine, then continue to be stubborn. Chapter 1463. Bigger did not think that he was being stubborn. He felt that he was trying to stop Yudikin's crazy actions. No matter how you explain it, it's still far-fetched. Stop it now. Tell your friends to leave the base island immediately. They're not my people at all. They're all arranged by him. Yudikin snorted. Whatever I say now is meaningless to you. What do you want? Bring it on. But I'll make it clear first. When you regret it, you'll have to swallow all the bitterness in your stomach. Don't spit it out to disgust others. Su Yun really did not think that a few words would cause the two of them to fall out. This completely proved that the other party's failure was due to their internal conflict. When there was no effective trust between partners and collaborators, there was no way to achieve the final victory. Originally, if the two of them attacked together, Su Yun would have no chance of winning. Not to mention that the base would definitely be lost. At least the two of them would be able to control Su Yun. They might even be able to escape unscathed. But now, they were humiliating themselves and killing each other. In the end, they would lose at the hands of their own people. They would lose because of their stupid teammates. This was the most annoying thing. And now, Yudikin was facing this kind of annoyance. But before I solve your problem, you'd better help me control Yen Long first. Bigger was a little too smart, but he still understood the most basic principle. No matter what he and Yudikin were going to do, they had to ensure that Su Yun would not escape. Now that Su Yun's hands were free, if he really jumped into the sea and swam away, they would not even have a place to cry. Hearing Bigger's words, Udikin suddenly felt that this guy was sometimes very sensible. Bigger, I don't care who you think I am, but I admire your decision. As long as we can return to the general alive, all the credit will be yours. As long as you help me control Su Yun, I don't want any credit. It's all yours. I promise. I swear. Don't try to charm me, Bigger said. I'm not in the mood to think about this now. You attack the left. I'll attack the right. We'll surround him from both sides. We can't let him take advantage of us. We'll talk about our business later. But remember, don't play any tricks. This is the last bit of trust one have for you. Udikin, take care. Udikin nodded. As long as Bigger stood with him now, he could do whatever he wanted in the future. At least for now, he could not let Su Yun's plan succeed. He could not let Su Yun escape. If he could catch him, everything would be an opportunity. If he couldn't, everything would be nonsense. Su Yun had just found the trick to dealing with Udikin, and he had not even had the time to subdue him. Now that Bigger had joined the fray, things were going to get tricky. Bigger, think carefully. After dealing with me, his next target will be you. Unless you can do as I say and restrain your hands, no one will listen to me. Although Beagle was a little too smart, he was not blinded at critical moments. He was very clear about what he should and should not do. Over the past few days, you've made me understand something. Even if there's no trust between me and Udikin, we're still comrades. Su Yun licked his slightly dry lips. It seemed like he couldn't avoid it today, so he might as well bring it on. He couldn't afford to lose face. Since you've decided, then bring it on. 2 against 1. Is this what you special agents are capable of? Are you trying to bully us Hua Xia because we're not men? Lin Ji's appearance had turned the situation upside down. He had followed Bigger up the cliff. When he saw that Su Yun was fine, he was relieved. Now that the two of them were going to attack Su Yun together, he could not take it anymore. Bro, you take the front, and I'll take the back. Let's make a pincer attack. Su Yun smiled and shook his head. He knew that no matter the time, there would always be brothers like him who would not care about the consequences. Fortunately, Lin Gu was not impulsive this time. The reinforcements he had invited were far beyond his imagination. All right, let's show them the consequences of angering us Hua Xia. If they anger us Hua Xia, they'll die. Before Lin Gu could finish his sentence, he was already behind Bigger. At the same time, Su Yun also launched his final attack on Udikin. Against an opponent who had already figured out all his trump cards, Su Yun was confident that he could take him down. The motivated Lin Gu would not let Bigger, who had not fully recovered from being on tenterhooks for many days, escape from his grasp. The two brothers worked together to break gold. From the moment they started fighting, they had gained the upper hand and completely suppressed Udikin and Bigger. Udikin and Bigger did not even have basic trust in each other, let alone teamwork. If it was a one-on-one, they might have a chance to catch their breath. But in a 2-on-2, in front of Su Yun and Lin Gu, the two of them had become complete clowns. Just as Su Yun and Lin Gu were enjoying the game of cat and mouse on the rocky cliffs of the island, the secret transit base below was completely destroyed. The Japanese allied forces were all killed. Only a few people managed to escape, and they were deliberately left behind to report back. As for the major general stationed on the island, he could not accept this cruel reality and actually chose to commit suicide at the last moment. He could not accept the fact that a secret base was destroyed in his own hands. The command center and airport were burned down, and the explosion turned the entire sea red. The secret military base on the flat top of Japan had been completely destroyed. These soldiers had a backbone. Even if the major general committed suicide, none of them surrendered. Some ran away, and some waited for death. But no one touched them. It was enough that the base was destroyed. There were no murderers present, and they would not be taken as prisoners of war. This was because their goal was to destroy this damned place and then take Su Yun away. Doing this was enough. In the end, Udikin and Bigger also chose to give up. The two of them, who were completely powerless to continue resisting, just sat there on the rocky cliff. They watched all their efforts slowly fade away like gunpowder in the air. Perhaps they had really chosen the wrong opponent. Perhaps the general really should not have provoked this guy. Pigeon, how did you manage to invite someone like Lightning Lingfeng here? Su Yun and Lin Guo could finally rest. Su Yun finally had the chance to ask the question in his heart. If he did not clarify this matter, Su Yun's curiosity would not be quelled. Lin Guo laughed. Brother, you think too highly of your brother. How could I have the ability to invite gods like the 5 great war gods here? I can't even contact them. 5 great war gods? Su Yun was stunned. Could it be that not only Lightning Lingfeng but also Thunder Onan, Hurricane Empty Mountain, Blazing Sun, and Howling Waves Dong Hai were all here? Su Yun's jaw almost dropped when he heard Lin Ge's words. Lin Guo said that he did not have the ability to contact these 5 people. That was for sure. Su Yun himself did not have the ability to do so. No, it should be said that Su Yun did not know who had the ability to summon all 5 legendary figures in such a short time. Could it be that they had gathered all 7 Dragon Balls? Otherwise, how could it be possible? I knew you would be very surprised, Lin Guo said. Calm down and think about it. Who among the people you know has the ability to do so? This question is too simple. Su Yun was stunned. It was simple enough. If there was someone who had the ability to find the 5 hidden war gods, then there was probably only one person in the entire Huaxia. Who else could it be? Of course, it was his stepmother. Chapter 1464. Regarding Zhua Langyue's story, whether it was Su Yun or Lin Guo, they were all legends that could occasionally be heard from the older generation. Therefore, even Su Yun didn't know what his stepmother was capable of. But today, he finally understood why others would give her the title of Empress. In the 5,000 years of Huaxia, there was only one explanation for the title Emperor. Emperor, 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 Emperor. When a person's moral cultivation reached the same level as heaven and earth and was in harmony with heaven and earth, that person would be called an emperor. Such a person was bound to be the most intelligent and capable among all humans. Therefore, everyone was willing to let him manage everyone's public life and guide and enlighten everyone. Therefore, everyone elected him as the highest administrator. But as time passed, people no longer valued morality, but status. Therefore, the meaning of emperor changed. It originally represented the realm of moral cultivation, but later became a symbol of status. Obviously, Zhua Langyue's title of emperor didn't belong to the era long ago. Although her moral cultivation was unquestionable, in the underground world where the strong preyed on the weak, one must have strength and status in order to be called an emperor. Among the 3 emperors of the underground world, only Zhua Langyue was called empress. This was enough to prove her supreme status in everyone's eyes. After so many years of disputes in the underground world, there was probably only one person who could be called "No one dares to disobey." Needless to say, everyone clearly knew who it was. It was only Zhua Langyue. 5 people who were known as the strongest god of war in the underground world 10 years ago. Apart from Empress Zhua Langyue, who else could dispatch them? Who didn't know the tempers of those 5 people? Not to mention dispatching them, if one didn't have any status, it would be hard to even beg for a meeting. Everyone in the underground world had heard of Jiaoyong's story. Back then, a rich boss wanted to hire Jiaoyong to be his son's master, so that his son could practice martial arts and become an expert. But, who was Jiaoyong? He was Lai Yan. Everyone knew what kind of temper he had. He had no interest in cultivating a disciple, so he refused very straightforwardly. The boss was stubborn, believing that there was no one in the world that he couldn't move with his heart. If money didn't work, then he would use the touching method. He had his son kneel in front of Blazing Sun's door and kowtow until Blazing Sun agreed to take him in. But in the end, because the boss's son had been kneeling for too long, his father wouldn't let him get up. He had to kneel here and ask his subordinates to take care of his daily needs, but Jiaoyong didn't show any signs of relenting. In the end, the boss's son knelt for 5 days and 4 nights, until his legs were crippled. Even so, Zhao Yang didn't spare him a glance. Of course, the boss couldn't accept it anymore. He blamed his son's crippled legs on Zhao Yang and insisted on demanding an explanation. However, Blazing Flames Zhao Yang only gave the boss a single sentence. "You were the one who made him kneel, so you have to take care of him." His words infuriated the boss. The boss spent a large sum of money to hire over 30 experts to cripple Zhao Yang's legs and make him use a lifetime of pain to make up for his son's lifetime of pain. However, more than 30 people weren't able to take down Zhao Yang. A few of them were even crippled by Zhao Yang. From that day onwards, Zhao Yang was crowned as one of the war gods. Among the 5 war gods, it was said that Blazing Flames Zhao Yang had the best temper and was the easiest to talk to. The others were even harder to talk to than him. It was obvious that the 5 war gods weren't people that anyone could invite out just because they wanted to. Moreover, Blazing Flames Zhao Yang could have easily saved Su Yun, but he still left Su Yun to the side and let him deal with his own problems. No one would believe that Blazing Flames Zhao Yang's brain wasn't strange and that there was nothing wrong with his actions. Each of the 5 war gods was harder to understand than the other. The only thing that was publicly acknowledged was their strength. The difference between their strength and that of the 3 emperors was almost negligible. Some people also said that the 5 war gods were completely capable of fighting the 3 emperors one-on-one. However, these were all legends after all. No one could tell if these stories were true or false. Some things were always more interesting when they were mysterious. Ever since the 3 emperors went into hiding, the 5 war gods had also faded out from the underground world. One must know that they hadn't reached the age of retirement yet. There must be a special reason for them to fade out from the underground world. Today, these 5 war gods had appeared on this secret island at the same time. Apart from the Empress, no one else could have done it. In the entire underground world, in the entire Huaxia, and in the entire world, only the Empress, Zuolangyue, could have done it. The 5 war gods definitely wouldn't give such a big face to anyone other than the Empress. Su Yun patted his head. When he saw Blazing Flames Zhao Yang, he should have thought that only Zuolangyue could have done it. "Brother, you really don't know what kind of situation this is. I've never seen such a big scene in my life," Lin Ge said. After knowing that old man Wan wouldn't arrange for the brigade to save you, Xiaoye braced herself and contacted her mother. This time, the small Guqin island was really shocked. The Empress is indeed the Empress. She arrived at Guqin Island the next day. Those experts that appeared one after another at night really confused me. I didn't even deserve to carry their shoes. Really, I really have to give it to them. They're too influential. Other than the 5 war gods, there are other people. Su Yun opened his eyes wide. No wonder that base was destroyed so easily. Wasn't Zuolangyue's actions a little too exaggerated? You didn't believe me when I said it. Lin Ge was still very excited as he talked about it. All sorts of immortals and freaks have appeared. No matter if they've washed their hands in a golden basin or if they've been in hiding for many years, they all appeared when they heard the call. The movie hotel almost exploded. However, she only kept 20 people and dismissed the rest with an understatement of, "Go back." Those who left didn't complain at all. All of them respectfully said, "If there's anything you need us to do, please let us know at any time." Listen to this, listen to this. Su Yun really felt that this was a little exaggerated. "You're not bragging, right?" "I'm bragging?" "Brother, go back and ask around. Let's hear who can tell me differently. Do you know how strong that aura is? Even I can't bear it. Changzi and the others are always running to the toilet because of that aura." Lin Ge said, "Let's go and take a look now. I guarantee that you will be scared by those who came with me." Perhaps all of this happened too fast. When Su Yun and Lin Ge went to see Zuolangyue, half of those who were sent by Zuolangyue to help her had already left. They all followed Zuolangyue's orders and quickly evacuated after destroying this damned base. This matter would forever be buried in their stomachs and couldn't be told to anyone. Everyone acted as if nothing had happened. When Su Yun and Lin Ge found Zuolangyue, Onan was bidding farewell to Zuolangyue. Thunder Onan was a guy whose reputation was even more resounding than Lightning Ling Feng. Su Yun really didn't dare to believe his eyes. Zhua Langyue didn't pay attention to Su Yun when she saw him coming. After greeting those who left, she also signaled Su Yun and Lin Gu to prepare to board the ship and leave. This place wasn't suitable for them to stay for long. However, Su Yun couldn't leave yet. Auntie Zhua, I still have some things to deal with. Can you give me a few minutes? Do you want to have a chat with that so-called general? Zhua Langyue spoke to Su Yun for the first time. You really have the same moral character as your father. Okay, I'll give you some time. Hurry up. I'm afraid that the Japanese's cruiser will arrive soon. If you don't want me to cause more trouble for you, you can delay as long as possible. I don't care. Just don't spoil the so-called righteousness of you stupid soldiers. Thank you. Su Yun grinned and quickly rushed to the command center. There was a video satellite phone inside. Lin Gu also rushed in after Su Yun. At this time, Lightning Ling Feng also came to bid farewell to Zhua Langyue. I'm leaving first. This brat is indeed that man's son. He's a moldable talent. Chapter 1465. Although almost every part of the island was destroyed, the communication room of the command center was not destroyed. This was clearly not the work of the military. If it was a military battle, they would have attacked the command center immediately and completely destroyed it. However, the idle clouds and wild cranes of the underground world would not care about this. They would immediately rush to the airport and the armory. The fuel depot was set on fire by them, but they did not touch the command center. The command center was meaningless to them. However, if it was a military battle, it would be different. First, making the enemy lose contact was a very important move. It could also be said that it was the most important mission of the battle. After Su Yun obtained a method to contact General Adler from Utica, he knocked him and Beagle out and tied them up with ropes. Sitting in front of the huge communication screen, Su Yun gathered his emotions before making the call. Due to the time difference, although it was late at night here, it was still daytime on General Adler's side. After Su Yun informed General Adler of his identity, General Adler's figure appeared on the screen in front of Su Yun within a minute. General Adler was wearing a simple camouflage uniform. Although he held a high position, he did not show any signs of weight. His entire body seemed to be filled with strength. Su Yun immediately understood why Wan Guangxiao treated him as such an important enemy when he saw Wan Guangxiao's resolute gaze and cold expression. General Ade didn't have a lot of hair on his head, and it was already slightly pale. He calmly looked at Su Yun, but he was already very sure of one thing. For Su Yun to be able to contact him like this, it must be because his people had made a mistake, or to put it more bluntly, his people had failed their mission. General Adler, you didn't think we would be able to talk again so soon, right? Su Yun smiled faintly and did not act courteous with General Ade. They were separated by tens of thousands of li. Even if a general like him could mobilize nuclear weapons to bomb him, it would still take time. Therefore, Su Yun did not need to show any weakness. I didn't expect it. General Ade replied very calmly. However, I feel that our conversation this time won't be as pleasant as the last time, right? Su Yun laughed. Don't be like that. You were the one who had fun last time, but I wasn't. I had no choice but to play along and make you happy. This time, I want to make myself happy. As for whether you will be happy or not, that is your problem. It has nothing to do with me. Hee hee. General Ade smiled faintly. Where are my men? Su Yun shrugged and didn't answer. Wasn't this obvious? Yen Long, do you know why I admire you so much? General Ade's expression did not change. It's because you have a spirit that none of my subordinates have. You might not understand what I'm saying, but if you believe me, I can make you the best agent in the world and give you everything. What I want to have is my own problem. There's no need for you to worry about it. Su Yun, I'll also make a statement here. Before tonight, I've been polite to you. From now on, if you don't stop, you should think about what kind of suffering you'll have to suffer. Without waiting for General Ade to speak, Su Yun continued, think about it. How many people have you sacrificed for Matthew's matter? If I were you, I would definitely back off. Playing when there's nothing to play with isn't called persistence. That's called being an idiot, understand? I don't believe that I can't win against you. General Ade said confidently, I can admit to you that in this world, I've only lost to one person. He is also a Hua Xia. So I swore that I would never lose to a second Hua Xia. If you insist, fine, I'll make you admit defeat in the end. Wait, speak slowly. Su Yun grinned. Then I'll tell you. The person you lost to now is still that person. General Ade's expression changed. He retired long ago. I say, why are you so stupid? You're allowed to retire to the second line to train spies and agents for the US government, but you don't allow our leader Juan to retire to the second line to train people like us who can compete with you? General Ade could no longer control his calmness as well as before. He took a deep breath. My information is very comprehensive. I also believe in the information I received. Don't think that I don't know that the leader of your special forces is Wang Yi. Oh, since you know, then I have nothing to hide. Su Yun said, your Marika is really too shameless in this regard. What eavesdropping, monitoring, and espionage. There's really nothing to be proud of about these shameless things. But I'll just tell you openly. So what if you know about it? I'll also tell you. Not only do I have Wang Yi above me, I also have Wan Guangxiao who will make you unable to raise your head for the rest of your life. Wan Guangxiao. This name almost made General Ade's head explode. These were the three words he didn't want to hear the most in his life. Wan Guangxiao. After so many years, he thought that he had walked out from Wan Guangxiao's shadow. But he didn't expect that after so many years, he would once again lose to this person. General Ade, listen up. The person you lost to isn't me. The person you lost to is our leader. It's the one that you can never win against in this lifetime. Crazy. Shao. Su Yun's every word was sonorous and powerful. Every word was like a sharp dagger, deeply piercing General Ade's heart. Facing General Ade, who couldn't say a single word, Su Yun sneered, You letting your people bring me to this secret military base of yours, this will be the decision you will regret the most for the rest of your life. I'll warn you one last time. If you don't seek death, you won't die. With a bang, the coffee cup in General Ade's hand was crushed. The coffee spilled onto his pants, but he didn't care. His fingers were cut by the broken porcelain, but he didn't feel any pain. He just let the blood and coffee stain half of his palm. That's enough. Don't sulk on your own. You're the one who caused all these troubles. Su Yun, this island of yours, I'll remember it. If you want to use it in the future, even if the Japanese agree, you have to think carefully about whether you can continue to use it. Do you understand? General Ade really couldn't tolerate the provocation of a junior. But just as he was about to explode, Su Yun suddenly picked up the chair under his butt and smashed it onto the big screen. After a crackling sound of electricity, everything was over. Bro, you're awesome. Lin Gu gave him a thumbs up. This old foreigner doesn't know what's good for him. If he doesn't stop, we'll let him die as far as he can. I'm not used to his bad habits. Well done. Su Yun was really satisfied with this smash. He vented all his unhappiness. He didn't just smash General Ade, he also smashed the Empire's hegemony. He smashed the despicable methods of a villain. A country was like a person. Once a person got used to being strong, he would feel that everyone should give in to him and listen to him. But when someone really came out to teach him a lesson, he would understand that his bad habits were caused by being spoiled. His sense of superiority wasn't something he was born with. Pigeon, let's go. I haven't thanked aunties were properly yet. Su Yun said calmly, We should leave this place as soon as possible. This is a dangerous place. The Japanese self-defense force should be here soon. I want to go back as soon as possible too. Everyone is probably worried. Lin Gu nodded. There's a satellite phone on the ship. We'll contact them once we get on the ship so that they won't be worried. Especially, we have to tell Xiao Yi. Not only does she have to worry about you, she also has to worry about Auntie Zhua. Su Yun nodded. Before the two of them left the command center, Su Yun saw a Zippo lighter on an office table. She lit it up and threw it into a machine that was emitting sparks. Not long after they left the command center was set ablaze. The feeling of setting a fire was quite satisfying. Su Yun's stomach full of anger had completely disappeared. Chapter 1466. Su Yun and Lin Guo came to the front of Zhualangyue. Before they could say thank you, Zhualangyue spoke first. The people who left first have already seen the Japanese cruisers. If there's not much time difference, this island will be surrounded in less than 20 minutes. After a pause, Zhualangyue continued, You've caught the people and burned the island. It's about time to go. I don't want to spend the whole night here. Since you've said so, how can I dare to disobey you? I don't want to stay here for another minute. Su Yun was sincere. He was also eager to go back and report the good news to the brigade. He wanted his brothers in the special forces to stop worrying about him and let the chief know that they had won the battle. The army was not involved. The Japanese couldn't find any evidence, so they couldn't stand out to accuse and spout nonsense. There was no chance for them to talk nonsense. This was probably the best way to solve the whole thing. And he had to thank Zhualangyue for all of this. Perhaps it was because of her words that they could easily destroy a secret transfer base of the Americans. Su Yun's gratitude was not just for personal help. Aunt Zhua, I thank you. On behalf of the Shenlong Brigade, I thank you on behalf of Team 1. You only need to represent yourself. Zhualangyue said, You don't need to represent the others. I don't have the obligation to do anything for them. I don't like to do anything for them. If one leader also benefits from today's incident, then he's lucky. I don't need his gratitude. Zhualangyue's tone didn't sound friendly. She didn't want to give Wan Guangxiao any face at all. This made Su Yun a little surprised. But then, he understood everything. Su Yun, let me tell you. You'll go back with me today. Don't think about your bullshit army anymore. Zhualangyue said, No matter whether you're a gangster or not, you should know what loyalty is. You're loyal to your army. But what about your army? Are they loyal? If I were you, humph. Su Yun knew that Zhualangyue wouldn't understand what the behavior of an army represented and what influence it would bring to the country, so he didn't refute her. Aunt Zhua, I know what you're thinking. However, perhaps everyone has their own judgment, and everyone has their own way of thinking. I'm not interested in your thoughts and judgments. Zhualangyue's voice was still filled with anger. I only know that when you needed them, they didn't stand up for you. This kind of behavior, no matter what the reason is, in my eyes, is a coward. Su Yun had no reason to refute. Not long after he left the Dragon Brigade, he had been involved in the disputes of the underground world. He understood that Zhualangyue was right. This kind of behavior was indeed disdained by all the experts of the underground world. However, their standpoints were different, and their identities were different. The Dragon Brigade didn't just represent them personally. They couldn't be careless when it came to matters involving their country. Aunt Zhua, I understand. Su Yun nodded. Let's not talk about this anymore. It's almost time. Let's go. Zhualangyue calmed down a little, but soon there was a problem. When Su Yun wanted to take Yudikin and Biga with him, they were nowhere to be found. Don't look for them. I've released them. Zhualangyue's words completely poured a basin of cold water on Su Yun's warm heart. How could he let her go? Su Yunjin wanted nothing more than to call her mother and ask her what she meant by that. It must be known that Su Yun and Lin Gu had spent a lot of effort to control these two bastards. I know you'll ask me why. Zhualangyue played it down. But I've already explained what I said before. It's because I'm here to help you, not Wan Guangxiao. My business is over after I save you. As for the rest, I have no obligation to help him. Su Yun was convinced. However, Zhuo Lengyue was his elder after all, and she had just helped him. If she hadn't come, Su Yun might not have been able to save himself, let alone capture them. Therefore, she had the right to release them. Aunt Zhuo, those two people are very important to my brother. Lin Gu said with a mournful expression. Don't scare us. You won't really let them go, right? Pigeon, you heard it clearly. Those two people aren't important to your brother. They're only meaningful to their troops. Zhuo Lengyue said, they can leave your brother in the lurch, and you still want to take advantage of the situation to do them a favor? You want to bring them back and let them enjoy the fruits of your labor? That's right. That's the logic behind this matter. Lin Gu patted his forehead. They had left his brother in the lurch. Why should he help them capture them? That's right. That's right, Aunt Zhuo. You're so considerate. Alas, Su Yun could only sigh helplessly in his heart. He didn't blame Lin Gu for thinking like this. After all, he was young and didn't consider so many things. But Zhuo Lengyue's thinking really made Su Yun angry and ridiculous. How could an adult fight with such childish anger? I've driven them into the sea. Whether they live or die depends on their own fortune. Zhuo Lengyue didn't care about Su Yun's feelings now. She just wanted to let Wan Guangxiao know that even if she had to do something for Su Yun, she would only do it for Su Yun. Finally leaving the island overflowing with flames, Su Yun felt like he was in a dream. Since he brought Matthew out of the tiger's mouth, these things were bound to happen. This was the price. Matthew could stay quietly in the tiger's mouth because the tiger cherished him and couldn't bear to eat him. But it didn't mean that others could eat him. Even if Matthew originally belonged to Hua Xia, the giant dragon, if the giant dragon really took the fat away, the tiger would still not forgive. After all the countries in the world knew very well that Hua Xia was still in the awakening period and hadn't really opened her eyes. Many countries were looking forward to the awakening of Hua Xia, because only her awakening could make the world fairer and more peaceful, and make hegemony disappear completely. However, there were also a few countries that didn't want Hua Xia to awaken. They clearly knew what Hua Xia's awakening meant. It meant that their interests would suffer losses. It meant that hegemony would no longer exist. Su Yun, after you go back with me this time, I won't allow you to report to the Dragon Brigade. Zhuo Lengyue suddenly spoke, interrupting Su Yun's thoughts. Su Yun was stunned. He suspected that he had misheard. Why would Zhuo Lengyue interfere in his affairs? Aunt Zhuo, I'm a member of the Dragon Brigade. Something just happened, so I definitely have to go back. I said I won't allow you to go back. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Zhuo Lengyue's emperor's qi really made people feel inexplicably huge pressure. Even Su Yun was a little breathless. But who was Su Yun? If he couldn't bear this pressure, he didn't deserve to be that man's son. Aunt Zhuo, this is my own business. Su Yun said lightly, you can interfere in other things, but for my personal affairs, I'm afraid. I can only say thank you. You're really a disobedient brat. Zhuo Lengyue said, today, I helped you, so you have to repay this favor. And my request isn't too much. Before I talk to that guy surnamed Wan, you're not allowed to go back. It's best if you agree. Even if you don't agree, you have to agree. Lin Gu looked at Su Yun, hinting him to quickly agree. After all, this was the Empress's request. Okay. After weighing the pros and cons, Su Yun agreed. Zhuo Lengyue was right. He indeed owed her a big favor. Under such circumstances, if he still didn't agree to her request, wouldn't he be too immature? Chapter 1467. Far away on the other side of the ocean, General Audet sat in his office with an ashen face. He was facing a Hua Xia poem and calligraphy on the wall. This was written by him. Obviously, it was Wan Guangxiao who filled him with an eternal desire to learn about Hua Xia culture. Thousands of sacred scrolls. I often feel that my heart is full of wisdom. Laughing wildly, I scatter visitors from all directions. I'm angry and wander to the Tiger Mountain. Unafraid of the foul wind and bloody rain, I sing a song for 10,000 miles. What is wrong with wandering alone? Overturning the heavens and earth to comfort my life. This was a Liangzhou song. General Ade thought of himself as a great person. Everyone who knew him also agreed that he was a great person. As for such a loss, it was indeed not something he could easily accept in a short period of time. The importance of the secret military base on Pingding Mountain Island to America was self-evident. However, such a secret base was completely destroyed today. However, he couldn't admit it. He couldn't use this to seek justice because they had never admitted their espionage activities. Once they admitted this secret base, it meant that they admitted their espionage activities against Asian countries. General Ade could only swallow this anger. He couldn't let the world know about the existence of this base. This feeling was like a thief who had his stolen wallet stolen. The wallet clearly contained his own money, but he couldn't report it to the police. At the same time, he had to arrange for someone to inform the Japanese authorities. He had to make the Japanese swallow their teeth and swallow this matter. He had no other choice but to accept all the damn things that had already happened. It was still unknown if the Japanese would cooperate with them. If those useless people in the Japanese cabinet did something irrational, then he would really be on the verge of breaking down. General, are we really going to let this matter go? No matter how important a decision was, there would always be a group of people who couldn't understand it. General Ade didn't want to say much to such people. He slowly turned around and said, "If you have a better idea, I'll let you have my seat." Everyone was silent. When General Ade turned around again, leaving them with only his back view, everyone chose to remain silent. There was no need to say anything more. General Ade had already admitted defeat. Inform all the agents in Huaxia to evacuate from Beijing immediately. General Ade said, "First, find a way to fade away from the other party's surveillance. After 3 days, withdraw from Huaxia in batches. No one is allowed to make any more mistakes." He had already lost enough, he couldn't afford any more losses. No one wanted to continue staying in this room to feel the oppressive atmosphere. The moment General Ade waved his hand to signal them to leave, everyone quickly left General Ade's office. There was only silence in the room. After a long time, General Ade raised his head and looked out the window. He muttered to himself, "After so many years, you are still my opponent. Back then, I was the one who was always at a disadvantage. Who would have thought that after so many years, the person I nurtured would still be at a disadvantage when facing the person you nurtured? Ha ha ha. Wan Guangxiao, do you really like being the nail in my eyes that much? You better not give me the chance to pull you out." After a pause, General Ade's eyes flashed with a cold light. "As long as I can pull you out, I will melt you into nothingness. I will make sure that you will never have the chance to continue being the nail in my eyes." Su Yun's safe return finally made everyone heave a sigh of relief. Bai Xiaoye glared at Su Yun with anger and hatred. This fellow is too arrogant. He actually dared to make such a big decision on his own. He made such a decision on his own and put himself in such a dangerous situation. Even his own people didn't care about him. They almost couldn't see each other again. Although everyone was angry in their hearts, they were also glad. No one scolded Su Yun. They all knew very well that even if the same thing happened again, Su Yun would still do it because he didn't think that what he did was wrong. From his standpoint, this was the only thing he could do. This was the only answer. What about her? Bai Xiaoye had been waiting for her mother to appear. Since the last time they had a rift, they hadn't contacted each other. After she hid, she didn't know how to meet her mother again. However, because of Su Yun's matter, Bai Xiaoye had no choice but to brace herself and do it. However, Zhuo Langyue didn't say anything. It was as if nothing had happened. She promised Bai Xiaoye with certainty and told her not to worry. She would definitely bring Su Yun back safe and sound. She didn't blame Bai Xiaoye or make her emotional. Everything seemed to have faded away with time. However, only Bai Xiaoye knew that it was impossible for Zhuo Langyue's heart to not hurt. Just like her, Zhuo Langyue didn't express the pain in her heart. She didn't do it not for herself, but because she didn't want people who cared about her to worry about her. Although Su Yun's matter couldn't be considered a good thing, it gave Bai Xiaoye and Zhuo Langyue a chance to calm down and have a talk. Bai Xiaoye thought it through. She should understand, forgive, and learn to be tolerant. Su Yun scolded Bai Xiaoye like an elder brother. I say, child, have some manners. What do you mean by her? Who is she? Can't you call her respectfully? Bai Xiaoye was speechless. However, Su Yun was right. I'm just asking, where is my mother? That's more like it. Su Yun said, she has something to deal with and didn't come with us. Bai Xiaoye had always been afraid of facing someone she didn't know how to face. However, she didn't feel relaxed at all. Instead, her heart felt empty and inexplicably disappointed. Brother, where did she go? Bai Xiaoye asked. Do you know? Su Yun shrugged helplessly. She went to cause trouble for me. If it were me, I would do the same. Ruan Qingxuang hadn't said anything until now. However, she couldn't help but say, I know you have your responsibilities. You have your own choices and choices. When it comes to personal and national decisions, national interests and reputation are more important than anything else. However, I'm still angry about this matter. In fact, it wasn't just Ruan Qingxuang. Everyone felt that this was unfair. I understand your feelings, but this matter was truly my own misjudgment. It was my own choice that caused the problem. Su Yun, this has nothing to do with them. Really, if I were them, I would have made the same choice as them. Brother, you're not that cold-blooded, Lin Gu suddenly said. You don't have the right to speak. Go away. Su Yun kicked him. This guy didn't help him and even added fuel to the fire. It was hard enough for him to explain this matter alone, but this brat still didn't help him. Su Yun took a deep breath. It's my fault. Lin Gu is right. Bai Xiaoye also went into a dead end. You're not that cold-blooded. I agree too. After Zhua Meiyan said that, she immediately avoided Su Yun's gaze. Chong and the others also wanted to say something, but Su Yun glared at them and stopped them. Cho Yun didn't avoid Su Yun's gaze at all. She said directly, because you're not in that position, you can say it easily. If it were you, you wouldn't have answered so easily. Then we should understand them and the chief even more. He also struggled when he made such a decision. Su Yun, remember, my identity will never change, and my responsibilities will never change. Some things aren't right or wrong. It's just a matter of position. Chapter 1468. Stand. Zhuo Langyue slapped on Wan Guangxiao's desk and glared at Wan Guangxiao as if she was interrogating a criminal. Wan Guangxiao really didn't know what to do. He was afraid that he couldn't explain it clearly. It was a matter of stand. Zhuo Langyue couldn't understand it. It would be a waste of time no matter how much he said. So, he might as well let her vent her anger. After all, Wan Guangxiao could think from Zhuo Langyue's point of view. If he were in Zhuo Langyue's position, he would also do the same. He would never ignore Su Yun's danger. After Zhuo Langyue arrived at Yanjing, the first thing she did was to go straight to the Dragon Brigade. Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu happened to be on duty at the gate, who were in charge of security and reception. They had already imprinted Zhuo Langyue's appearance and identity in their minds. Seeing her, they naturally didn't dare to neglect her and directly escorted her to the chief's office. The moment Wan Guangxiao saw her, he knew that she came to ask him for an explanation. He was bound to be scolded today. However, he had to explain what he needed to do. He analyzed and explained everything about the country's reputation and personal interests. No matter whether Zhuo Langyue would understand or not, he had to make his position clear. He wanted to let her know that if she were him, she wouldn't be able to handle this matter either. However, the word stand was so meaningless in Zhuo Langyue's eyes. Wan Guangxiao didn't dare to describe it as playing the lute to a cow. There was only one person who could persuade and control Zhuo Langyue, and it was impossible for this one person to come here and help him out. Wan Guangxiao didn't have any disgust or displeasure. It was also a good thing that someone came to yell at him. I don't care what you say. I'm here today to tell you that Su Yun is no longer under your control. Zhuo Langyue said quite firmly. Do you understand? After this incident, I can't leave him with you anymore. Wan Guangxiao frowned. Although he was much older than Zhuo Langyue, he really couldn't do anything to this empress who had always been qualified to be arrogant in front of anyone. Zhuo Langyue, I'm afraid you don't have the final say in this matter. You and I both know why Su Yun is in the Dragon Brigade. Zhuo Langyue shook her head, ignoring Wan Guangxiao's explanation. Just say what you want to say, but you have to hand him over to me. Impossible. Even if it was a person, he would. That person. When. That brat. Su. From that moment. We understood his intention of. Back. That year. From the time he was a little kid to the time he was a talent, all of his paths had been here. You know the meaning, knew the meaning, know the meaning. Today is today. Zhuo Langyue said, I'm no longer that ignorant little girl. I won't be jealous of Su Yun because he is the child of that woman. The Zhuo Langyue of that year has changed. Let me make it clear to you today. When I chose to be with him, I never thought that I could become his only true love. I know that the love of his life is only her, not me. But I'm willing. I don't ask for much. I just need to know that he's taken out a little bit of his heart to love me. That's enough. Wan Guangxiao frowned. He didn't want to talk about this issue, however. Zhuo Langyue entered this topic. Alas, in the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed. However, Wan Guangxiao could still vividly remember what had happened in the past. He fell silent. He didn't know how to continue this topic. He didn't know what to say or talk about with Zhuo Langyue. Perhaps at this time, the most suitable identity for Wan Guangxiao was to be a listener. I was the one who made the mistake in the beginning. If it weren't for my willfulness, Zhang Taisui wouldn't have sent Su Yun here. Zhuo Langyue's face was expressionless and her eyes were dull. She was completely immersed in those extraordinary years. 10 years ago, I began to regret it. When I saw my daughter grow up day by day and she could only call me master, I realized my mistake. How many decades could there be in a person's life? Zhuo Langyue's mistake lasted 10 years. How much she regretted it couldn't be explained in 1 or 2 sentences. Instead, she needed to make up for it with her whole life. If she hadn't been so willful, if she had understood everything like now, Su Yun might have grown up with her and Xiaoye wouldn't have needed to call her master for so many years. She wouldn't have had to endure so many years of suffering. 10 years ago, she wanted to make up for everything. But after all, it had happened so long ago that she didn't have the courage to admit it to her daughter. She also didn't have the confidence to make Su Yun, who was already 15 years old at that time, accept her. Therefore, the matter had been dragged on like this. It had been dragged on and on forever. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years had passed. It wasn't until Su Yun was chosen to be sacrificed by the Dragon Brigade that Bai Xiaoye asked her for help for her brother, who was related to her by blood, that Zhuo Langyue suddenly realized her mistake. After all, humans were emotional creatures. Life wasn't long. No matter if it was an ordinary person or a great person, they weaved their life with joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. Zhuo Langyue regretted for 10 years. For anyone, this punishment was huge. She had been looking for opportunities to make up for it, but she realized that she would never have the chance to make up for it. No matter what she did, it was impossible. But suddenly, through this matter, she realized that her 2 children had unknowingly tolerated everything she had done. This had a huge impact on Zhuo Langyue's heart. She had never thought that she could be forgiven. Even if such a day came, it wouldn't be over so easily. But everything was so simple. The tolerance and understanding of her 2 children made this arrogant woman, who had been arrogant since she could remember, realize that there was no one who didn't make mistakes in life. But mistakes couldn't be avoided. They had to be shouldered and faced. And the higher a person's status was, the bigger their heart should be. They should be able to accommodate the 4 seas and shake heaven and earth. Only then could they live without regrets. Leader Wan, you're a leader. You have so many subordinates. Just give Su Yun back to me. This was the first time Zhualangyue called Wan Guangxiao this way. This made Wan Guangxiao a little surprised. Because in his memory, Zhualangyue called him Wan Guangxiao. Even calling him by his full name sounded nice. Wan Guangxiao heaved a long sigh. I understand your feelings. I also understand that you want to make up for it. But I also hope you can understand that there are some things that can't be made up by wishful thinking. That way, it will be counterproductive. No matter what you say, I won't let Su Yun come back. In the end, Zhualangyue was still very determined. I know what you did was for the country, for the righteousness, and for the happiness and well-being of more than 1 billion people in Huaxia. But even so, I won't let Su Yun stay here and take risks. Wan Guangxiao was silent for a while. If you can persuade him, I have nothing to say. I only have one request. Zhualangyue regained her calmness. You owe me this time, so you have to promise me. Go ahead. Of course, Wan Guangxiao recognized this favor. This time, he did owe Zhualangyue. If it weren't for Su Yun, she wouldn't have helped him at all. If it weren't for Zhualangyue, Wan Guangxiao could only suffer in silence for the sake of the country's reputation and let Aude think that he was a coward. Therefore, no matter what requests Zhualangyue had, he would promise her without hesitation. Zhualangyue said very seriously, I don't allow you and all of you to persuade Su Yun to stay here in any way. This is my only request. You're a gentleman. I believe you can do it. Wan Guangxiao was silent for a few seconds. Then he nodded slowly and said with difficulty, Okay. Chapter 1469. Su Yun had never thought that Zhualangyue would go to the Dragon Brigade to ask for someone. He thought she was just there to vent her emotions. He had never thought that Zhualangyue would ask Wan Guangxiao to withdraw from the Dragon Brigade. That was too ridiculous. When Zhualangyue returned to Guqin Island and stood in front of Su Yun to ask Su Yun to cut off all ties with the Dragon Brigade, Su Yun's eyes almost popped out. What a joke. Ever since he was sent to the Dragon Brigade by his godfather, he had spent 80% of his time there. Now she asked him to forget that place and never go back. That meant he would never go back there again? That meant he could forget it all of a sudden? Even if Su Yun said he could forget it, who would believe him? Even Zhualangyue wouldn't believe him, right? Su Yun shook his head like a rattledrum. Auntie Zhua, this is my business. You don't need to worry about it. Whether I go back or not, I can make the decision myself. I'm not a bird that has never left its nest. I'm not a child that has never left home. I'm already in my 20s. I can make the right choice about what I should do, what I shouldn't do, and how I should go about my life. You can't. Zhualangyue's words were resolute and decisive. Today's meeting was held by her. All the people present were Su Yun's closest friends. There was no outsider. Today, Zhualangyue wanted to tell Su Yun what he should do with public opinion instead of reasoning with him. This was because she knew very well that a young man in his 20s who had seen the world would definitely be more reasonable than anyone else. Since they couldn't solve this problem with their so-called standpoint, Zhualangyue wanted to solve it with public opinion. She wanted Su Yun to see with his own eyes that some things he should do, dangers and responsibilities he should bear. If he bore them, how many people would bear them for him at the same time? I know that you are unconvinced, but today, you are more familiar with everyone here than I am. With a single word from you, all of these little brothers of yours would dare to die for you. Zhualangyue says indifferently. She takes a look at Chong and says, with his small body, he can deal with some small ruffians in the streets and alleys. But how can he fight against the well-equipped American soldiers in that island base? But do you know what he said that day? Su Yun was stunned. Only now did he understand why Zhualangyue asked them to gather in the largest conference room of the film and television base. Let him repeat himself. Zhuo Lingyue said, "You're Chong, right? Repeat what you said to me that night." "Don't do that, Auntie. Auntie Zhuo, I'm too pretentious to say that in front of Brother Yun." No, I can't say it." Chong waved his hand repeatedly. "Those words will rot in my stomach. Just pretend that nothing happened." Zhuo Lingyue orders, "Say it." Whether I'm pretentious or not, I just want to let Su Yun know. He definitely can't say it. Brother Chong seems to be thick-skinned, but in fact, he is not. Little Northeast says, "Brother Yun, aunties didn't let us go with them at that time. She said that the American soldiers were well equipped and we would be in danger if we went." Brother Chong said that even if it was dangerous, he would still go even if he knew that he would die. Even if he could only block a bullet for you, it would not be a waste of his flesh. Chong is embarrassed. He doesn't know why he said such words that day. It's too embarrassing. Su Yun is stunned. He doesn't feel pretentious at all. For a long time, Su Yun has a deep-rooted belief that those who can live and die with him and throw away their lives for him without hesitation are all brothers of the Dragon Fury team. Today, he suddenly realized that the brothers he had met in society could also share life and death with him. They could also throw their lives away for him without batting an eyelid. "Su Yun, you heard it, right?" Zhuo Lingyue says, "This is Chong's words. What he said is not only his heart, but also everyone's heart." Su Yun is silent. He doesn't know how to thank her. "Why do you think you can come back alive?" Zhuo Lingyue continues, "Is it because you are lucky? Is it because you are destined?" "No, it's all because of me." The whole conference room is very quiet. This time, Su Yun can turn danger into safety completely because of Zhuo Lingyue. If it wasn't for Zhuo Lingyue, all the consequences would be unimaginable. "If you can be a little more of a bastard, you can say that you didn't ask me to save you." Zhuo Lingyue says indifferently, "You didn't say that, which means you are not a bastard. I have no interest in taking credit in front of you. I just want you to think clearly. If it wasn't for me, what would the consequences be like?" Everyone was very clear about the strength of the people Zhuo Lingyue had gathered that day. Su Yun didn't dare to say that those people were all experts above the Earth Profound Realm, but he had to admit that if he were to be thrown in, he would definitely be one of the weakest few among those people. "If it wasn't for me, there would still be people to save you. If it wasn't for me, there would still be people to help you." Zhuo Lingyue's words are like a sharp blade cutting through Su Yun's heart. "Lin Ge wouldn't have left you alone. Xiao Yi wouldn't have left you alone. Everyone who knows about this matter wouldn't have left you alone." Su Yun lowers his head heavily. "Because we don't belong to your army, we don't know your so-called position. We can't take into account the interests and reputation loss that you can. There is only one thing we can think of." Zhuo Lingyue's words become sharper and sharper. "That is, we can't let you die. We have to save you no matter what the price is. Do you understand?" Everyone is silent. Although it didn't happen like that, they all know that Zhuo Lingyue's words are indeed a reality that hasn't been realized yet. If it wasn't for Zhuo Lingyue, these people would still try to save Su Yun at all costs. Just like what Chong said, even if they know that they will die, they will still choose to die voluntarily. If it wasn't for Zhuo Lingyue's words, Su Yun will never be shocked like this. At this moment, Su Yun feels like his heart is being fiercely squeezed by someone. That kind of pain is indescribable with words. He hated himself for not understanding other people's hearts earlier. Why didn't he think of everyone earlier? He only considered his own position, his own identity, and the goals he wanted to achieve. However, he neglected others. "Su Yun, you said that you are no longer a kid, nor a bird that hasn't flown out of its nest." Zhuo Lingyue says indifferently, "You can make your own decision. Think about it carefully. Look into each of their eyes and think clearly. Do you still want to go back?" Even so, Su Yun still can't make this decision. He can't abandon the brigade. He stops his eyes on Ruan Qingshuang. She has always been the one who understands him the most. Su-yun hopes that she can say something. But this time, Ruan Qingxuang chooses to be silent. She avoids Su-yun's eyes. It's not that she can't understand Su-yun, but she can't understand why the troop gives up the rescue of Su-yun. Ruan Qingxuang knows Su-yun's group of extraordinary brothers. If they take action, they can also bring Su-yun back safe and sound. But they didn't do so. The reason why Ruan Qingxuang can't understand is very simple. It's because they are indifferent to Su-yun. Ruan Qingxuang is just a girl who has lived an ordinary life since childhood. She doesn't know what is righteousness. She only knows that as long as Su-yun stays in that place, there will be more danger. Chapter 1470. I've always thought that sacrificing one's brothers for the sake of one's face and reputation would only happen in the underground world's major forces. Zhua Meiyan smiled faintly, but I didn't expect that your troop would do the same. You're not the most important thing. Even in the underground world, sacrificing one's brothers for something is disgraceful. Cho Yun's words were more resolute. Her way of expressing her emotions had always been concise and clear. She either didn't say anything or hit the nail on the head. Cho Yun was telling the truth. The reason why Zhuo Langyue didn't want Su-yun to go back was not only because she was worried about Su-yun, but also because she felt that Wan Guangxiao's handling of this matter was shameful. From the bottom of her heart, she firmly believed that this was something that only a vile person would do. However, Wan Guangxiao's identity and the impression that Wan Guangxiao gave her was not a villain. Therefore, his behavior disappointed Zhuo Langyue so much. This was also one of the main reasons why Zhuo Langyue had to be so ruthless. In the final analysis, except for Su-yun, no one at the scene could understand Wan Guangxiao's behavior. They only thought about Su-yun. Su-yun was the only one who wouldn't think for himself and would try to understand. "Brother, I don't know whether I should say something or not," Lin Ge said indifferently. "I suddenly realized why I was sent away that year. It's not so complicated. It's just because I'm not the same kind of person as you." After a pause, Lin Ge continued, "I don't care whether I belong to your troop or not. If you're in danger, I'll do whatever it takes. That's what the person who brought me up taught me. That's what my senior brothers and sisters taught me." Perhaps it was because of different living environments that people's personalities and thoughts were different. Facing such a situation, even the most impulsive Qian Feng in the Dragon Brigade suppressed his impulsiveness. Lin Ge, who had always been calm, also lost his composure. All eyes in the meeting room were filled with hope and advice. They all hoped that Su-yun could leave. As long as Su-yun left, it seemed that all the trouble would be left behind. This was what many people hoped for, and how many people looked forward to. The responsibility was on Su-yun's shoulders. Only he knew in his heart whether this responsibility could be removed. "I can understand him," Qin Wan suddenly said. After hearing about what happened to Su-yun, she did not hesitate to put down all her work and rush to Qingdao. She was also the only one who did not complain after knowing that the army would not rescue Su-yun. As a police officer, Qin Wan could understand. It was just like she didn't want her badge to be damaged in any way. That kind of personal plot could only be understood when one was in the position and the thing happened to happen to them. Therefore, Qin Wan could understand, but she only understood. She would not agree, because what she cared about was Su-yun. But seeing Su-yun in a difficult position, Qin Wan could not help but speak for him. Some reputation is indeed more important than a person's life. Everyone has different values. Of course. Su-yun, I also want to tell you that I understand you. Many of us understand you, but understanding does not mean we support you. Su-yun was already very satisfied that someone understood him. "You won't force us to agree with you," Qin Wan said. "Similarly, we won't force you to agree with us. We just need to understand each other. The final decision still belongs to you. No matter what choice you make, we will support you." Qin Wan was the first to express her opinion. Everyone else nodded in agreement. Indeed, They absolutely respected Su Yun's choice. Even if Su Yun's choice was not what they wanted. "I'm not that careless," Zhuo Meiyan said. "I've wanted you to leave that place for a long time. Although I know you won't leave that place so easily, I just want to express my opinion. Sky Entertainment Group is the blood and sweat of the old man. We are all doing our best to help you take care of it. But Sky Entertainment Group is what the old man wants you to take care of." Su Yun did not have the time to take care of Sky Entertainment Group. It was a mess. But if he thought about it carefully, it was the truth. This was what he should take care of. He did not care about it at all. Why should others do their best? Wasn't it all for him? Su Yun's decision would inevitably hurt these people's hearts. This made Su Yun feel very conflicted. "I know that everyone is thinking for me. I also know that my decision is not perfect." Su Yun put his hand on his chest. "But I have to do things that are worthy of my conscience. The country gave me this identity and gave me this responsibility. They trained me to contribute to the country. Everything I've done is a responsibility on my shoulders. It's something I can't just ignore. There are so many people in the Dragon Brigade. You don't have to do everything." Zhuo Langyue was determined to keep Su Yun away from the Dragon Brigade. "In this world, it's the same without anyone. Without you, Su Yun, the Dragon Brigade can handle everything." Su Yun knew what Zhuo Langyue was thinking. He did not refute. "Yes, it's the same without me. But these things are what I should do." "That's good." Zhuo Langyue said, "I asked Wan Guangxiao why he was willing to give you up. Wan Guangxiao said the same thing. Without you, the Dragon Brigade can handle everything." Su Yun did not answer. He knew that Zhuo Langyue was provoking him. Wan Guangxiao would not say such words. "How about this?" Zhuo Langyue suddenly said, "Now you call him in front of everyone. Ask him if he will ask you to stay if you leave. If he asks you to stay, we have nothing to say. Because the Dragon Brigade can't do without you. You have to do what you have to do." Zhuo Langyue's tone changed. "But if he doesn't ask you to stay, you have to listen to our advice. Leave the Dragon Brigade, even if it's just for a period of time. Take it as a holiday so that everyone can relax." Su Yun was silent for a while and nodded. Well, since Zhuo Langyue had spoken, he would do as she said. Su Yun was 100% confident that the chief would tell him that the brigade couldn't do without him. There were still many things for him to deal with in the brigade and the country, because these were all his responsibilities. Su Yun was very confident when he made this call. However, the result was completely different from what he had imagined. Wan Guangxiao did not say that the brigade couldn't do without him, nor did he ask him to stay. Instead, he followed Su Yun's words and said that if he wanted to take a break, he could. He didn't need to worry about those unfinished things. There would always be someone who could shoulder them. Su Yun did not know that this was the condition that Zhuo Langyue had put forward to Wan Guangxiao. Therefore, when he hung up the phone, his face was still full of surprise and confusion. However, this answer made the others heave a sigh of relief. Su Yun was a man, and his words were as firm as nails. He had already promised Zhuo Langyue, at least for this period of time, he could relax and leave those troublesome matters behind. "Boy, remember, in this world, no matter who leaves, it will continue." This was the last sentence that Zhuo Langyue left before she left. This was also the truth that she had spent a long time to understand after she lost that man. This principle was universal. Not only in love, but also in everything else. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.